So shall we begin with the session?
Yeah, I think we can begin.
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all on the behalf of ICSI IIP, and we welcome you all to our second workshop series is on perspective of IBCs. Thank you for taking out time to joining us today as we begin with our first day of the series. And the topic for today is developing a market of distressed assets and e-auction. Just a little reminder before we begin with the session, I would request all the participants to please keep their respective mics on mute so that we do not disturb the speaker or any other attendees. And in case you have any queries, I would request you to please mention the same in the chat box, or you may raise the hand before unmuting yourself. Now, with any further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Rajesh Kumar Gupta, sir. Sir is a seasoned banker with over 28 years of experience in banking and financial service industries. Before joining IBBI as a Chief General Manager, he was employed with IFCI Limited as its Chief Risk Officer. Prior to pursuing his career in BFSI industry, he gained 5 years of valuable industry experience being employed with leading automobiles manufacturing organization. At IBBI, he is heading the Advocacy, CPE, International Affairs, Knowledge and Management, and Partnership Division. Now I would turn the time over to Sir to share some highlights and expertise on the subject matter. Sir, now you may please begin with the session.
Yeah. Thank you, Drishna. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Shri Debajyoti Ray Chaudhuri, Managing Director and CEO, NeSL, Shri Anil Kohli, Insolvency Professional, and all the distinguished participants. A very good afternoon to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to address the workshop on developing a market for distressed assets and e-auction being organized by ICSI IIP along with IBBI today. The enactment of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, as all of us are already aware, was a watershed moment in the regulatory and economic landscape in India. The code was launched with the intent of seeking time-bound resolution for financially distressed assets so as to free and reallocate the scarce resources and capital held up in these assets for the benefit of the stakeholders, be it the employees of the company which is under distress, the financial creditors, the operational creditors, and even the entrepreneurs. For the first time, the code brought a collective resolution framework for insolvent companies through a creditor and control approach based on the internationally accepted principles of insolvency resolution. The code thus allowed a transparent and market-driven process for change of ownership of a stressed enterprise as a route towards resolution. Pursuant to implementation of the code and with the support of the judiciary, the service providers like all of you, the banks, financial institutions, Reserve Bank of India, and the Government of India, the stressed assets have been significantly brought down. However, the stressed assets markets in the country are still very large, which includes the assets represented by the non-performing assets as also the return of assets. As a logical corollary, this indicates a significant potential for investments in stressed assets, either through IBC route or the mechanism outside the IBC also. The entry of global capital in this space can hasten and strengthen the process. Currently, there are two types of buyers in the stressed assets markets. That is the strategic players focused on long-term vision of building up their business through inorganic route, and the non-strategic players like the distressed assets funds focused only on higher internal rate of returns. For some time now, the large conglomerates have been active strategic players in the distressed asset market in India. There are already examples of such strategic players in the steel sector. For example, the several integrated and downstream steel companies were admitted to the CIRP and achieved successful resolution. These include top names like the SR Steel, Bhushan Steel, and the Bhushan Power and Steel, etc. There is, however, a need which is being felt to further deepen this market to attract large and medium enterprises, including from overseas markets. This can be made possible through creation of a well-equipped, transparent virtual marketplace for distressed assets, for wider dissemination of information about such assets, nil information asymmetry across players, quick completion of the corporate insolvency resolution process with minimum uncertainty and reduction in the transaction cost and litigation. The stressed assets and special situation funds have been setting up operations in the country either through local tie-ups or on a standalone basis. These funds have attracted inflows from the pension funds, high net worth individuals, and other institutions. These funds are basically driven by a quantity of supply of stressed assets, regulatory transparency and robustness, and potential for higher returns vis-à-vis the global returns. They are important constituent for developing the Indian distressed asset markets, as they not only bring much needed capital but also their global capabilities and turnaround strategies. Currently,
Cotton has grown 2x, whereas another grown 50x.
can I
And
request
that
the
journey is
speakers, the participants to please switch off the mics?
Whereas if you go 50%, it will be
Sorry. Currently, investors can potentially use three kinds of domestic investment vehicles: the alternate investment funds, the NBFCs, and the ARCs, to invest in companies undergoing IBC resolution. IBC has played a pivotal role in evolution of a wide and deep distressed markets in the country. While the code has proved to be a successful piece of legislation, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, as a regulator, has strived to establish and popularize the insolvency framework under IBC. The stressed asset market is still evolving with a rapidly changing legal, policy, and regulatory landscape, amendments to the code, evolving jurisprudence that aim to address key concerns faced by the different stakeholders, including the investors. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India has conceptualized and consolidated platform for distressed assets. The platform is expected to contribute to facilitating an efficient market for distressed assets where everyone may have the same and required set of information and can participate with ease. The key features of the arrangement include identical information availability to all the participants, maintenance of confidentiality, low participation cost, and it is akin to a marketplace where each of the player can see what is on the block, thus ensuring removal of geographical boundaries. It is expected that the platform would help a resolution professional in raising interim finance also at the lowest cost by tapping marketplace consisting of large number of players and providing the required information to the prospective lenders on a need basis. The platform for distressed assets will also provide a transparent and equitable process that enables outside investors with risk capital to participate as a resolution applicant during the CIRP, ensuring a broader set of resolution applicants, which may ensure better price discovery. The PDA will also act as a specialized IT-based asset sale platform for a liquidator who may sell the assets of a CD through an auction, thus ensuring an efficient market, including participants and an electronic platform. IBBI has recently empaneled two entities to provide the services of a PDA and create a trusted marketplace. These are the NeSL and the M Junction Services Limited. The details of both these platforms are available on the board's website, and both the platforms are live now. Further, the clause 1(7) of Schedule 1 of the liquidation regulation provides that assets to be sold through online portal, if any designated by the board. Several online auction platforms are already available in the market. However, none of them have been till date designated by the board as such. As I mentioned earlier, the board has empaneled two platforms for distressed assets. However, these have not been exclusively designated for providing auction centers or services. We have recently introduced an amendment in extant regulations to provide for auctions to be conducted only on auction platforms which are empaneled and designated by the board for auction services. The amendment shall be implemented from a future date. The board is seized of certain areas where reforms may be required to further ease the issues being faced by the prospective investors into distressed assets. The government and the board are working on the same to facilitate effective and improved outcomes. I also believe that establishment of the NARCL, that is the National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, and the India Debt Resolution Company Limited, will also contribute to facilitating a better and a seamless interface for investors interested in investing in startup in stressed assets that are likely to be transferred to be these companies, so that they are required to deal with only one entity instead of multiple lenders. In the end, I would like to thank the ICSI Triple IP for organizing this event in association with the board, and I would urge all the participants to make best use of this opportunity to improve your existing understanding in the subject matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for being present here today and sharing some highlight on the topic. Thanks a lot on the behalf of the entire team of ICSI IIP. Now to carry forward with the event, I would like to invite Shri Debajyoti Ray Chaudhuri, sir. Sir, on the behalf of ICSI IIP and IBBI, I welcome you for today's session. And I would first like to introduce you to the participants. Sir did his MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi, and is a certified associate of the Indian Institute of Bankers. He is a passionate leader with a long track record of successfully managing assignments of diverse nature. Immediately prior to joining NeSL, Sir was Chief Journal Manager in IBBI, where he took some path-breaking initiative like the implementation of Companies Register Valuer and Valuation Rules 2017. Sir has published various articles in reputed publications, national newspaper, and has been a speaker in numerous seminars and webinars related to corporate insolvency and also in educational institute like NLUs. Prior to joining IBBI, he was at the corporate office of India's largest bank, SBI, where he was responsible for compliance and risk and implementation of IBC at its largest business vertical. He was also conferred the Business Excellence and Innovative Best Practice Academic Award in the year 2020 by the Delhi Institute of Management. Now, I would request Sir to please begin with the session.
Thank you, Trishla. And at the very outset, I would like to thank ICSI IIP for having me and our team here on this first series of workshops. And of course, it was a pleasure listening to Mr. Rajesh Kumar Gupta of IBBI, and he set the context very beautifully for this workshop. Now, the stress assess market is a huge opportunity for all the players. And as Mr. Gupta mentioned, it includes both the NPAs as also accounts which have actually been written off in the books of the banks. And I do recall Mr. Gupta mentioning that global players have shown an interest. And we all know that a few transactions have, many global players have shown interest in some of these transactions, including those which were under the corporate insolvency resolution process. So there's a huge opportunity out there. Recently, we also heard about ILFS, and it's been a major success since 2018 when stress was first observed. And within a span of 4 years, almost 55,000 crores of debt was resolved. So that was a huge success. And of course, we know that it was done outside the corporate insolvency resolution process. But this is, of course, a one-off success story. And resolutions under CIP or under the IBC have some inherent advantages. First of all, there's an independent insolvency professional. So effectively, the creditors are in control. There's a moratorium period when there's a freeze on legislation, and it's a market-driven process. The best bids are selected for the resolution plan, and at the end of it, there's also a kind of legal sanctity to the entire process. So resolutions are possible both through CIP as well as outside it, but there are certain advantages of going through the CIP, and we've seen some major successes during this CIP. Now, I'd like to tell a little bit about us. National E-Governance Services is an information utility under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. We all know that the information utility of the IU is widely regarded as one of the 4 pillars of the code. I would also say that it is it provides the IT infrastructure of all the processes under the code. And Mr. Gupta, in his opening address, also mentioned that NeSL has been empaneled as a platform for distressed assets. Now, what is the advantage of using NeSL? So, for one, NeSL is a regulated entity, like all of us are, like you IPs are. And as a regulated entity, it is subject to a certain degree of supervision by IBBI. So IBBI has the regulations, the provisions of the code. We have to provide a annual compliance certificate. There are certain technical standards which have been issued by IBBI in the form of guidelines. NeSL has to comply with that. And besides that, as a public sector company promoted by banks, we have various other comforts for our stakeholders. So we are ISO 27001 2000 certified company. We have a technical committee comprising of very eminent professionals to guide us on various technical or technology related issues, and the data which is stored with us is secured in a data center which is of tier 4 category, which is what usually banks are. So we go to great lengths to ensure data protection and information security. We have a very competent management, which includes a chief technology officer, which includes a chief information security officer. So we have taken all these safeguards to ensure that the data which you store on our platform is secure. As Mr. Gupta mentioned in his opening address, NeSL has been empaneled as a platform for distressed assets. And this is the kind of, you can do the entire range of activities under corporate insolvency resolution process as well as liquidation, starting from sending the notice which is required to initiate proceedings, insolvency proceedings for operational creditor. Starting from that, it's a kind of end-to-end process. And also other benefit is that you can do multitasking. IP's job is challenging. You have to do 2 broad types of tasks. One is you have to run the business. If it's a going concern, you also have to run the processes. The various processes can take place in parallel. So all these tasks IP has to do, but in our platform, you can do multitasking. All these processes can be done at the same time. For example, calling for claims, and in the meantime, if a registered valuer gives a report, if that has to be taken on board. And the advantage is that it is web-based. So one does not need to use any email, because there's a risk of using email. Emails can be hacked and information can be accessed by persons who are not authorized to do so. But our entire platform is web-based, and one need not use emails to send or receive any kind of information. For example, valuation reports can be directly uploaded. Resolution plans, when they are received, can be directly uploaded. And moreover, you can access the platform sitting from anywhere. So travel is not a constraint. And the platform also offers some benefits, like it ensures compliance. How does it ensure compliance? It gives you a reminder about various timelines which are required to be complied with. I think the details will be gone through by my colleague, but 1 week before the timeline, you will get a reminder. And there's also transparency. Those who are those who have to access the information, they can access the information. So the creditors who file the applications, they can be happy. And similarly, claimants who file the claims, they can know the status of their claims. If they are very large number of claimants, like in the case of real estate, uh, a real estate company which is under insolvency, claim management becomes much easier, and is good for the IP as well as the claimants. The claimants can either they can file directly on the platform, which becomes claim management easier, or if it is done on an offline basis, an Excel file can also be uploaded. And information which has to be accessed by anyone can be made available. For example, if IBBI wants to access information, that can be provided. The committee of creditors which wants to access information, that can be provided. There are various stages in this. The first part, of course, the OC can use it to generate the demand notice. Similarly, filing of applications can also be facilitated through this platform. Once the claimants, all the claims are filed, formation of COC can also be through this platform. An asset book can be maintained. As I said earlier, resolution plans can be also be submitted in a secure manner. Similarly, in liquidation also processes can be facilitated. There's an auction platform which auction of assets under liquidation can also be done. So this helps the IPRP to manage and comply with regulatory requirements and achieve the prescribed deadlines for resolution process or under liquidation also. It also stores information and restricts access as per needs to stakeholders. And as I stated earlier, it is useful for banks and BFC who have filed the case if they are interested in knowing the developments, what is happening. So through this platform, they can access and they can know the status of the CRP. And there are various security features in this. For example, there's an audit trail. So what data has changed, who has changed the data, when the data has been changed, who viewed the information, who has downloaded it. So all those security features are there. So later on, if IBBI does an audit, so these can easily be provided. And similarly, there's a traceability also, who downloaded it, when downloaded it, what is the version of the document, from which IP address the document has been accessed. So all these features are there in this platform. So overall, it is an end-to-end process, and it has various security features. And when you are dealing with NeSL, you are in any case dealing with an information security regulated via IBBI. We are in any case regulated by, our company has been incorporated by large banks, and we have corporate governance of very high standards. So these are all the comforts which you have dealing with us, and more than 100 IPs have used it. And one of the biggest comforts is that it gives a comfort to the resolution applicant that his data is secure. And also it gives a comfort to the IP that sensitive details, for example, valuation reports, so these are there in a secure form, and these are accessed only through persons who are authorized to access this under the code and the regulations. So overall, it is a complete package, but I would rather see that you see and experience it for yourself. So that's why I have my colleague here, Mr. Araventhan, who will first give, run a short PPT, give you the actual step-by-step process in which you can use it. And following that, depending on time availability, he can actually give a demonstration of the platform. You can see the user screens, you can see the reports that can be generated, you can see the various menu options, you can also see how to navigate around it, and later on, depending on your convenience, or if you want a demonstration separately, so that can also be done. So I'll stop here now, and I'll request Mr. Araventhan, our colleague, who incidentally is also registered IP. So he will take this forward. He will give you an actual presentation and also go through actual demonstration of the platform as it is.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope my screen is visible, the presentation.
Yes, visible.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'm Araventhan S E from NeSL. I'm part of the platform for distressed asset team, and I'll be taking you through this presentation on the various services which NeSL provides under empanelment of IBBI in the name of platform for distressed assets. Today, as the topic is about the developing a market of distressed assets and e-auction, let me start with the definition of market. Not a market for distressed asset, just in general, the definition of a market is a market is a coordinating mechanism that allows determination of price and conveys information among economic entities. And these markets play a crucial role in maintaining the financial health of an economy. And two parties are generally required for any transaction in a market, but at minimum, a third party is required. A second buyer would always introduce competition in that transaction, and he will bring balance to that transaction. And so it is called as a state of perfect competition. And markets also try to find some balance in price when supply and demand are themselves in balance. But that balance can be disrupted by various factors other than the price alone for that particular asset, including expectations, be it the expectation of a buyer or the seller, or the technology, level of technology involved in that particular asset, which is to be transferred. And also, a very common idea is that the number of buyers and sellers participating. This number of buyers and sellers participating is always a disruption, and this leads to a perfect competition where everyone, any seller can fetch a fair value to their asset. So what is the need for a market of distressed asset? So one of the many strategies to deal with the problem of NPAs effectively is to develop a market for distressed assets, and a secondary market for NPAs would reduce the debt collection burden on financial creditors and free up the resources and capital to support new lending. The market for distressed assets would also support corporate restructuring and expand sources of financing. It would improve a secondary market liquidity for loans and attract a wider range of institutional investors to assist in corporate restructuring. And a market for distressed assets could support a faster recovery by facilitating the exit of non-viable firms and also supporting the growth of viable ones. So on these lines, I would like to say such secondary markets need efficient IT systems to help the stakeholders in the process. In this case, the main stakeholder in the insolvency process is the insolvency professionals. So to assist them in handling the resolution and the liquidation cases, NeSL provides an end-to-end case management software for both CARP and liquidation, including a virtual data room service for invitation and evaluation of resolution plans, which is the heart of any CARP process. And also we provide the e-auction services for in liquidation for the assets of a CD as an entirety, as a sale of going concern also on piecemeal basis based on the different type of assets that particular CD has. And we also provide the interim finance platform, that is a reverse auction technique which is used in this auction platform for raising interim finance as well. And to give a brief introduction about NeSL, NeSL is incorporated in 2016, and majority of the shareholding are with public sector banks and 3 insurance companies and depository. So coming into the life of an RP, handling a CARP or a liquidation case, it involves multitasking. He needs to do complex processes involving communication and collaboration with various stakeholders, like be it the claimants or the creditors or the suppliers who are all involved in that with that particular scene. Yes, sir.
अमित सर ने भी ज्वाइन किया, थोड़ा उनको ज्वाइन कराइए. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, let me continue. So there is a fear of non-compliance with the insolvency professionals in recent times, and also the RP is expected to act transparently, and he needs to give information access to prospective resolution applicants, only select applicants, and also the resolution applicants also need to upload and give certain documents with the resolution professional. To facilitate all of this, we have devised this PDA case management software. And to give a brief introduction about a life cycle of any corporate insolvency process, as you all are aware that the first step is when it is an OC initiated case. So they send a demand notice, and then if there is no response on those demand notice, then they proceed with the filing of application. And this is a step for initiation step for FCs and CDs themselves in section 10 or section 7 also. And the RP, he makes the public announcement. The claim verification happens, and formation of COC is the next step. Then he appoints the valuers, gets the valuation reports, and in parallelly now the resolution professional is also expected to prepare the information memorandum and also certain other documents, and he invites interested resolution applicants through publication of Form G. And also he is expected to give access to information to CD. If the resolution plan is approved, so the resolution ends there, or if at all the plan fails, the CD goes into liquidation. So the similar process is carried out in the liquidation as well. In the end, the sale of assets happen through an e-auction platform. And in this process, in both CARP and liquidation, the RP is required to maintain minutes of COC in case of CARP and also minutes of SCC in case of liquidation assignments. He needs to maintain logs of e-voting, whichever happens during the course of the case, and also a cost sheet need to be maintained, like with all the liquidation cost or the CARP expense, which is made by the insolvency professional, need to be maintained. And also he is required to comply with all the reports and certain forms which are to be submitted with the first level as the insolvency professional agency, with the IBBI, and also with NCLT. So he is required to make regulatory reportings in a standard period of time. So to facilitate all this process, NeSL has come up with this PDA++, where information access can be given by insolvency professionals, which will also help in claim submission and verification. Post this presentation, I'll take you all through a very brief presentation on how the case management software works, how the claimants can submit claim there in case of difficulties faced by operational creditors. In some cases, operational creditors were not able to handle this software, and they were having some issues. So we have enabled a bulk upload option also for all the creditors, and how the IRP admits the claim here, and then the system automatically generates the list of creditors and their voting percentage based on the claim admitted. And I'll also show the reports which the data can be gathered and submitted with the IPA, IBBI or NCLT, and generation of information memorandum, and also a timeline for compliance and alerts. So virtual data room, which is the most important part. So it gives the insolvency professionals a secure storage of information, and he restricts access of all the documents uploaded there. So only people, only the participants group who are on provisional or the final list of resolution applicants, they can be given access, and the system maintains an audit trail which makes note of all the logins, logouts, downloads, views, and everything. So the IP can be assured that no person other than the intended resolution applicant will have access to those documents. And we have a business continuity plan, like a data recovery center, data recovery facility with present across 2 seismic zones. So there is almost zero possibility of data loss. And coming to the next part is the auction platform, where we provide services of sale of the assets of companies in series in liquidation, and also raising for interim finance. The sale of assets happen through a forward auction, and the interim finance raising happens through a reverse auction. So as MD sir has told, we are an empaneled service provider with the IBBI for this platform for distressed asset services. In this, we provide mainly 4 categories of services, which is VDR, which is for invitation and invitation of resolution plans, and also sharing of documents relating to assets during liquidation, and also invitation and evaluation of resolution plans. This VDR not only provides like an option of sharing data to the applicants, but we can also accept the resolution plans through a password protected file and upload. So the RP can access those resolution plans with the presence of COC in a secure way, and the audit trail ensures that the plan is not leaked. And the other 2 services are the auction during liquidation, and also market trace for interim finance. So the main important features of this PDA platform are: you can record the details of assets present with the CD, the business details also, along with the valuation reports. You can generate the information memorandum with the mandatory contents specified according to the law. You can invite resolution applicants, give them access, and accept submission of resolution plans. You can evaluate the resolution plans online, and also maintain the liquidation process details in the system. So the reports which can be stored in the PDA system are minutes of COC, logs of e-voting and e-auction, cost sheet. You can record grievances from any of the stakeholders, be it COC or any claimants, and there need not be any worry of non-compliance, since we have an alert and alarm system which mails the IP on a daily basis as well as a weekly basis on upcoming tasks. And also reports like the compliance form, form H, can be generated when once the case is complete. And the salient features are like this portal is easy to use web-based portal. You need not carry documents at all. You can access to any claim anytime just by logging into our portal. And we are soon expecting an integration with an e-voting platform as well. So once the e-voting is complete, the results are recorded in the system instantaneously. And we also provide services for services like data storage, and we provide this audit trail facility which records all those transactions, and all the data are stored within India. So this end-to-end web-based secured CARP case management solution assists the IRP and RP to manage, comply with regulatory requirements, and also to achieve the prescribed deadlines in CARP as well as liquidation. And it also stores information and restricts access as per the need to stakeholders like claimants, EOC, valuers, liquidators, and other stakeholders. And this documents which are all uploaded and the data stored in this system can be accessible by IPA and IBBI if at all the RP gives them access. So for any audit or inspection, the RP can just give them access to this case so that the regulator can view what the RP has done at what time. It is very useful for banks and COC members of the COC to understand the development on the cases. So if the RP decides to give access to the COC, so they can get to know where the case is actually standing and what needs to be done for the successful resolution, or in the case of liquidation, successful sale through auction. As mentioned, we have this audit trail facility which records who changed the data, what was changed, and when was any edit made, who viewed, who downloaded, and also the IP address of all the users are captured. And also the version number of documents can be, for every download, the documents get recorded as version 1, 2, and 3, same as in upload as well. So the claimants, they get to understand when they have made some changes to their claims, all the changes will appear in the next version. So the traceability of all the edits made in the claim documents are also available in the system. And coming to the last part of the service provided, it is the data storage services. So the documents, the soft copies and the electronic form of documents with any IP can be preserved for 8 years, as mentioned in the regulation 39A, subregulation 3A. So an IP is required to maintain all the records in soft copy in an electronic form for 8 years minimum. So
Yes, sir. 82 crore. Thank you.
yes. So use of the PDA service, there is no need for scan and upload of document. We can straight away you can just drag and drop the documents in the system, and storing the data with a regulated entity where the majority shareholding is by public sector banks. So there is a and also for due to this data center and disaster recovery facilities provided, the IP can be assured that the documents and the data stored pertaining to that CD is secure. And the rates quoted for these data are very much reasonable and the lowest in the market. So this being a cost-effective tool provides transparency and also security at the same time, will be of great help to the insolvency professionals handling any assignment. So we would request you to just try out our PDA platform. In case if you want any personal demo also with like a detailed case management software or detailed use of VDR, we can arrange a demo for them. Okay, now I'll proceed with the demo of PDA service first, the case management tool, and then I will take up and set up a live auction and give you a demo of how the e-auction works in our portal. I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know if it is visible. Is my screen visible, sir?
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
So the platform for distressed asset PDA service, the login is pda.nesl.co.in, in which an insolvency professional can register with using his IBBI registration number. Just by giving you the last 5 digits of the IBBI registration number, the system will automatically fetch the mail ID name from the IBBI site, and the insolvency professional can select a password of his choice and verify his mobile number and create an account here. Like the same way, valuers can also create an account, registered valuers who wish to submit a report pertaining to one particular CD for which the case is registered in PDA. He can create an account here and submit it through his login. Others are the claimants who wish to submit claims in cases which are registered with the PDA portal. They can register using their PAN number, give their email address and mobile number, get it verified, and then they can proceed with the claim submission. I'll log in with my IP login first and show how the case registration works. So once we log in for any new insolvency professional who has just registered, this active cases will be blank, and he needs to register his case first. He needs to click on register case, corporate debtor case, and he needs to give the details of the applicants of that particular case. So in case if it is a FC initiated case, he can select financial creditor, select bank, select a bank. All the banks are data are pre-filled here. You can select any bank and proceed next. Fill in the details of the corporate debtor. You can either search by the name of the CD, or you can fill in the SIN number, and then the details pertaining to that CD will be auto-populated, like the company name and the.
ये अभी कितने इसमें बिडर है सर अभी? कौन-कौन है सर?
So this is a non-government company. The addresses are pre-filled, and you can proceed with next. Once you have confirmed the details of the CD, you can proceed with the next and fill in the details of applicant's authorized person. That means the person who sits in the COC on behalf of this bank, his details can be given. It need not be of like you need not verify his identity. Just the name is enough for registering the case. By the same way, you can fill in the details of this. If the applicant is an OC, you can select if he is a supplier, employee, or workman. Fill in his details and then register the case. Once the case is registered and the payment is made, we'll approve the case from the backend, and the case profile will look like this. So this is a dummy case created by me. This is ABC Private Limited, in which first you have to update the status of the case. So once if the IRP, if you are appointed as the IRP, you can just update in this IRP service provider details, wherein you are appointed as IRP. Just click your name. You can type your name. It will fetch the details from IBBI website. You can verify your registration number, date of registration, address, and everything. Click on assign. Once the case is assigned to you, you can update the status of the case, like whether the public announcement was made, the claims are received by the IRP, or in case withdrawal happened, you can give the details of withdrawal application admitted, or is it settled, or any appeal or review is like pending with the NCLAT or the Supreme Court. You can fill in those details. Once you fill in the IRP details, the case will get registered in this portal. So it will be part of the public announcements in this NeSL portal. So if you search ABC Private Limited, it will appear under the public announcement. So any claimant who wishes to submit his claim, he needs to come here, select his claimant type, whether if he is a financial creditor, operational or other creditor, he can select his creditor type and submit it. If he is an individual, he can just select his, he should create an account first under the others tab, as I mentioned earlier. While registering, IP will have a different registration process, valuer will have a different registration, and others. So all creditors, once they have registered in this others tab, we will capture their PAN details there. So once we enter these details, this will automatically fetch my details, and then I can apply file for the claim in this particular CD. So if the creditor is different from the person who is filing the claim, you can fill in the authorized person details as well. In most of the cases, the creditor will file the claim for himself. In that case, you can click same as claimant and click save. So I have already submitted my name in the creditor list. So I'll show you how the creditor's name will appear in this in IP's login. So you go to creditor and claim. Here there will be this list of creditors: the financial, supplier, employee, workman, and other creditors. So in this case, let me go to the financial creditor. Since I have applied for the financial creditor thing, my name applies in the creditor details here. So the CARP claim, once you click on it, you click on this loan or facility or other transaction. In case of a home buyer case, you can just click on other transaction, unsecured. You can just add the details of your debt. So in this case, if it is a home buyer case, you can just give your case name, in your project name, and you can give your agreement number. Agreement number, it may be the allotment agreement number, and you can give your flat or house number. And the debt due date. The debt due date is usually the insolvency commencement date, and the claimants are expected to calculate the claim amount as on insolvency commencement date at the rate of 8% as prescribed in the code. So the due date should be the insolvency commencement date, and we can select the insolvency commencement date. The principal amount that is owed by the CD can be entered. In this case, I'll put 4 lakhs, and the interest amount on 8%, that would be 30, and other charges. If there is any specific agreement which mentions other charges also, that details can be captured here, and the system will calculate the total, and you can fill in this. So agreement number is mandatory. So I'll go to a number. I'm saving this transaction. So as a transaction in this city, I'm just in this project, I have entered my claim amount. As an RP, you can just come to the creditor and claim details, financial, CARP claim. You can click on my name. You can just view what is the claim amount, claim that I have submitted, and also supporting documents. So in this case, I have not uploaded any, but there is a facility to upload documents also. So in case if you have any supporting documents like a letter of allotment or payment receipt or any other document, you can upload the file here, and then you can generate the claim form. So the IP logs in here, and he clicks on this admitted part. He verifies based on the document submitted, uploaded. Like any document which supports the transaction and the debt, he can verify and he can admit those amount. So in case for the claim amount is 4,30,000, including the principal and the interest. And if the insolvency professional admits it partially, he admits only 3 lakhs, he can give his remarks that why it was partially admitted. If it is completely rejected, he can just enter 0 and he can give his remarks on why it was rejected, maybe for want of additional documents or anything. So you can mention the remarks there, which the claimant can see when he logs into his account. So once these details are submitted, the form C can be generated here. So financial creditor can generate this form C just by clicking the submission date and place. So he can take a printout of this and then submit it. So in this case, I have not given any loan details. So this document, once uploaded, while generating the form C also, the first 3 pages would be the prescribed form C, and the the supporting pages, like the next pages, would be in the order of documents which was uploaded by the claimant. So the claimant can just take a printout, sign it on the pages. He can either digitally sign it, or he can take a printout physically and sign it and scan it and upload it again. For that, we have both generate and upload options. In generate also, if you make some changes, if you add additional documents and click on generate, it would be version 1, version 2, version 3, and also uploads. If you have made some mistake in the first upload, you want to upload it again, those versions will also be stored as version 1, 2, and 3. So to avoid confusion, the IRP or the RP, he can download the latest version of the uploaded documents. He can view that and decide on how to go about the claim, whether he can admit it fully, partially, or reject it, and mark his recordings there. So this is how the claim case management works. And also, once if you get a list of creditors, all the report can also be downloaded in Word file, PDF, and also Excel format. So the details of all creditors with the name of the creditor, claimant number, every claimant will be given a unique number in this case. So in this case, it's FC001. So like that, any number of claimants, they'll have a unique claimant number, for which if they have any doubts, they can mail to the insolvency professional stating their claimant number, so that you can easily find out which creditor and you can make some changes to their claim, or you can look into their issues. The list of creditors can also be downloaded. And in case, as I mentioned earlier, the suppliers might have some difficulty in operating the system. So they might not know how to create an account or upload these details. For them, we have the option of bulk upload. So we have pre-designed templates for all the creditors. So financial, supplier, employee, and workmen, other creditors as well. So if you download the template for these creditors, you can just open this and then fill in the details of the creditors. Fill in the details and then you can just upload it there. Once you fill in these details of maybe 10 creditors, 10 suppliers, and then you fill it, you will be able to see all of them in this tab. So in the creditor details, now it is empty. Once if you bulk upload using that Excel sheet with the list of 10 creditors, all 10 creditors will be appearing here, and he can proceed with admission and rejection of their claim. And also you can like all case related data can be uploaded here. You can edit, you can put in details like when was the initiation date, and the NCLT order number, which states the admission, and also the order date and the insolvency commencement date. Once you fill in this detail, the RP will get a mail. Once you fill the commencement, CARP commencement date, the RP will get this timelines mail. So is the timelines mail visible? So like from what are all the next steps that needs to be done? The public announcement, T+3 submission of claims within T+14. So it automatically calculates using the internal calculator, and till the date of like 180 days with which the case is expected to be completed, it gives a comprehensive timeline. And also, in case if you have any change in timelines, in case if you have sought any extension or exclusion, that can also be. In case the RP has got any extension or exclusion, those details can also be added here with the application number, request given date, granted up to what date, the order date and everything. And we can amend the timeline accordingly. So in case the first meeting of COC did not happen on T+30 and it happened only on the like 15 days later. So you can just put the actual date here, and for the delay in reasons, you can record the reasons for delay. Like the same way, the subsequent timelines will get amended further. You can also upload the details regarding orders or appeals or application to adjudicating authority. So either the applications filed by the CD, that is by the IRP or the RP, or against the IRP or RP, all the details of the litigations can be recorded here. So the details of corporate debtor also, like the details about the board of directors or designated partners, their designation, appointment and cessation details can be added. The promoter details, guarantors, if there is any key managerial personnel details, and also any adjudication given, shareholding pattern and everything. So that these, if you fill these details, it would be easy for generation of information memorandum. So in case the IRP is like again confirmed as the RP, you can give the RP details here. And in case if it is if there are a class of creditors and you want to appoint authorized representative for that particular class of creditor, you can give those details of authorized representatives as well. You can add 3 representatives, and then the claimants will have the option to submit or select any one of them while submitting the claim only. So you will get the responses by all the claimants, who is the like most preferred authorized representative, and you can communicate with them, and then he can like he can be part of the COC if eligible. And resolution plan. So once these details are uploaded, and also valuers is a very important thing. So once if you want to invite valuation reports through this portal only, you can ask the valuers to create their account in the PDA portal. Once they create an account, they will have access to this particular case once you add them. So if you just type the last 5 digits of the registered valuer, you will get the details about them. What are their what are the asset classes they have registration with, and then the details of email and address. So once you click on confirm, the valuer will be added. So for every class, every asset class, you can add up to 2 valuers and then give them access. So one valuer will not have access to other valuers report. And the upload will also happen in the BDR path. So here, the valuation report, you can create a folder and create give them access to all the valuers that for upload, you can give them access and they can upload the valuation reports. Once the valuation report is like submitted, you can input all those liquidation values and fair values, and the system will calculate the average of those two. Coming to the resolution part, RA resolution. Once again. coming to the resolution plan, there is an option to generate Form G also in case you need this software only after publication of Form G. You need only the VDR part. You can upload the already generated Form G and unlock the VDR access. So the Form G can be generated here, and the applicants who are all need to have access to the virtual data room, their details can be added here. So resolution applicant, once they create an account, they also like the claimants, the resolution applicants should also create an account in the others tab and giving their PAN number. Any individual who is authorized to act on behalf of that company will create an account, and their details will be added to the resolution applicant's particulars. Once they have created the account, we'll add them as resolution applicants, and also under user management, we will create a participant group. So in this participant group, you can add all the stakeholders here and then select who are they. In case if they are a claimant, you give access to whatever the claimants have to do. In case if he's a valuer, you can give access as a valuer so that he can just view the details of the company, like the basic business details and also the company the asset details, and the valuer can proceed with this valuation and submit the report. If he's a COC member, it gives him access to what the case is now, where the case is now, and what are all the steps that can be taken further. If he's a resolution applicant, you give him access as a resolution applicant. This will give him access only to the VDR. So under user management, you create a participant group. You can invite users also through mail, and also if some users have requested to be a part of this case, you will get a request here which you can either approve or decline. And also information memorandum. So in case of these are all the mandatory contents of information memorandum that are listed in the code which needs to be present. So if you upload the list of all resolution process creditor here, you can just upload it. It has the option to generate as well. From the claims submitted, we can generate it and upload. And except for the last three, the latest annual financial statement, audited financial statement, and provisional financial statements, other details like the liability, description of assets, material litigations, these are all recorded. If at all, if these are recorded earlier, we have the option to generate and upload. So once we generate all the reports, it can be merged and created into a document. So documents data relating to business transaction and also other information memorandum details can be recorded here. And the details of RFRP evaluation matrix can also be uploaded. In this VDR document, I'll show you how to give access to resolution applicants. So you create a folder here. So creating a folder, you can just create as you can create any folder, and adding of documents in these folders are seamless, and it would not take much of time. So once you drop any folder, it gets immediately dropped in this VDR, and you can drag and drop multiple files as well, and you can select the folder, give access to the role created. So in the user management, you would have given access to a particular user as a claimant or an applicant or a caseworker or COC or resolution applicant. So in this case, if you want to give access to the resolution applicant alone, you can select the role and then give him permission either to download, upload, or delete. Usually delete option is not encouraged, but to provide like an additional feature we have given, the IRPs or RPs usually give download and upload option only to the resolution applicants. They can download the documents pertaining to that, and they can upload the documents like the resolution plan in a password protected file. Once the application, access is given to this resolution applicant role, all of the participants in that resolution applicant group will have access to this particular folder. Or if you don't want to give to the entire resolution applicant group, you can just select the name of the user. Just by searching their email address, you can just select this name and give them access. In this case, the RP can decide who gets to see what. And every document accessed in the VDR will get recorded in the audit trail. So in this case, I have uploaded this file. It got recorded. The activity description, uploaded a bulk file by the username and what date and time. So in case if someone accesses the document, that will also get recorded. Every view, download, upload, or delete or edit will get recorded in the audit trail. And also you can select the audit trail by the event. In case if you want the actions made by the RP alone, you can choose and view that. In case if you want to know what changes made by the IRP, you can view that. So specifically by event, you can also see the audit trail. And also alerts and alarms. So in this case, we have not updated the status. Otherwise, the events, like any task which were done in the last 7 days will appear here, or for the next 7 days, what are all the things that to be done. Or if you want to add any changes to any existing process that already happened, you can add it here. And also the IRP can create a to-do list for himself. If he wants to create a thing like send notice for COC at by tomorrow, he can select the date and then add the event here. So he will get a mail on that particular date and time that he needs to send the notice to the COC meeting. So and also there is this document storage option. This is different from VDR. So whatever document or data stored in the VDR, that is only for during the case duration. It won't be like it is not for storage after the case is complete, but the documents stored in this document storage section, these are all for as mandated by the code. These can be stored for 8 years. So separate charges can be paid for this document storage. And once all case related documents are uploaded here, the data will stay here for a period of 8 years. And also the process cost during the CARP or liquidation can be maintained in this this tab, in which the IRP or the liquidator can select the expense subhead, and then he can give the duration of the service, expense date, when was it recorded, how much amount was it ratified by the COC, and what was the amount ratified. If it is the same amount, you can put the entire amount, or if there is any changes, you can mention it. Reimbursement, when was it paid, and notes, if any. So all the expenses can be recorded here, and then at final, it can also be downloaded as an Excel sheet. So the cost incurred by IRP can be recorded here, and by the RP can also be recorded here. Yes, this is the demo of PDA in brief. In case if anyone has any doubts, you can ask them. If there are...
Araventhan, there is hi Araventhan, this is Prakul.
Yes, sir.
Araventhan, there is no limit on the number of pages within the file and nothing like that, no?
Actually, the limit is for the size of the file. It should be less than 50 MB. So if your file is more than 50 MB, you can break it.
Split it into that. But number of pages, there is no restriction at all.
Only on the size of the file.
Okay.
So, any other question from anyone? Or I'll proceed with the demo, a quick demo of our auction services.
I mean, while he's setting up, I'll just one thing that I'll tell is why we had made a demo of this is, like any like auction of distressed assets, there has to be transparency in the process while maintaining the confidentiality. This particular application has both those things, transparency as well as confidentiality, because it invites all the stakeholders to the platform so that there are no mails to be sent, like from here also no mails go outside. So that if you have to access, they have the right to access the information, you come there, the IRP, RP or liquidator permits you to access. So you come on that platform and access the information. And as he was explaining, if you download it, there's a watermark, we will know, and who has downloaded at what time and all. So it maintains transparency and strict confidentiality. That's one thing. And there may be one or two, other. As on today in the market, there is no equivalent product available. Starting from even the financial creditors can generate Form 1 and make an application to the NCLT. Even from there you can start. So complete, from end to beginning to end, there is no other software available, application available. This takes care. Yeah, sorry, Araventhan, you can.
Yes, sir. So I have a I prepared a dummy sale notice for which we'll be setting up an auction. We'll explain how this will go about. So this is the sale notice. Let us set up an auction for a land and building situated in a industrial estate in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. The reserve price is 5.25 crores. EMD is 10% of the reserve price and the incremental value is 5 lakhs. We'll set up the auction. So this is the portal for e-auction from NeSL. This is nbid.nesl.co.in, wherein users can register themselves as a bidder or the liquidator, both. So the liquidator or the IP will give their IBBI number, name, last name, and then verify their mobile and create an account with giving their PAN number. In case of a bidder, he will give his details of first and last name and the bidder type, either if it is individual or a company. He will, if it is an individual, he will give. Otherwise, if it is a company, he gives the company name and what is his role in that company. If he is an authorized person, director or a partner there, and email with mobile number. He also verifies his mobile number. For security reasons, for every login by either by a bidder or a liquidator, it happens only through OTP. But in PDA, it is not like that. Once you set up the password, you need to change it once in 90 days only. But for this auction portal, every time you log in, it will ask for OTP. So the bidder creates an account here and the liquidator creates an account here. So I'll log in through my liquidator login here. So this would be the dashboard of the liquidator. If there are.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
If I'm a valuer and IP both, so I have to register twice or only on one as a registered user?
Sir, you can register as a valuer as well as the IP. In case of registration as an IP only, you will be able to register a case. In your valuer login, you will be able to upload valuation reports and access to certain parts of the case only.
Okay, so I have to register twice, once as a valuer and another as a IP, right?
Yes, as far as now, we have had two cases in which the IP is both IP and valuer. So we can accept both the registrations. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So to set up the auction, first the location state is added. Location state, I'll add as Tamil Nadu. The district as well. Second. Once you add the state, you add the subcategory as district. Submit. So location of the state is created, then asset category. So we already have some predefined asset categories. In this case, it is land and building subcategory. We can just put land and building again. If you want to specifically mention other than land and building, you can mention it there. And assets. So you can add the asset there. Location. Create the location as Tamil Nadu. Location we created as Chennai. Asset. What is the asset now? So I will select the entire description which is given in the sale notice and then paste it here. I'll type it as ABC Private Limited, giving the CD name at first, and then it is a land and building along with the factory located at Chennai Industrial Estate. And I will select the asset category as land and building only. Subcategory, if there is anything specific, you can mention, otherwise you can select land and building only. So this asset is created now with the asset category. Now we should create the company catalog. So catalog is you can just, for your understanding, you can give any name. You can description also, so go land with the factory building. You can type, then company name, you can give the company. The address is there, you can give in the registered address of the company, and you can GST of the company. Okay. And auction type, as I've said, auction will happen in forward for sale of assets in liquidation and reverse for interim finance only. So I'll select as English forward. Bid type is open. Bid method is price base. So we'll select through EMD value only. We are selecting reserve prices. I've mentioned it as 5.25 crores. 525. EMD value is 52 lakhs. 50,000. Minimum incremental value is 5 lakhs. Extension price. So the extension price is usually the extensions happen at 5 minutes interval in most of the auction cases. To explain about what extension price is, if the auction is happening from 1 to 2, sorry, and if someone bids at the very last time, like 155 maybe, so the auction gets extended to another 5 minutes. And if someone bids at 1.4, then it again gets extended to another 5 minutes. It ends at 109. So whenever there is no bid received for those extension period for a time of 5 minutes, then only the auction will stand complete. Otherwise, it will go on for unlimited extensions. As we selected the location, here, location state, select category, land and building, location, subcategory. So since we have added this asset, this will automatically come and we should add it in the catalog. So catalog is like filled in now. The reserve price we need to check, and then EMD value, then extension price and incremental value. We submit this. Now the company catalog is also done. Once EMD auction is to be set up. So catalog name, it will automatically pop up. auction name, can give it as the asset name only. Registration start date, I'll give today. The registration start is time given for bidders to register to that particular auction. So we can give the liquidator can maintain his own records and do his due diligence and like make a final list of eligible bidders and allow them for e-auction. But this registration is only on the portal till when the bidders can register for that particular auction. So I'll give it as 240. Okay, no. Registration end time is start date is only today. Extension in time, you can choose the extension time. So in case if you choose 10, the extension will happen for before 10 minutes only. For how many duration? You can select based upon the liquidator's choice. Then now, okay, submit the details. So once we check the reserve price, EMD and extension price, the auction start and end time. So this will get submitted here. It's already 2:37. That's why it's. Okay, so the liquidator has the auction is set up in the liquidator's account. Let me show you how the bidder will register for his account. So this is appeared now. You can register, the bidder can register. So the bidder will register himself. Verify himself with OTP. So here the auction ID 160 is available. He'll click on view, accept, see the details of the auction. Whether if this is the auction he is intending to bid for, he will check all the details. If there is a joint holder, he will add those details of joint holders, and he needs to upload his PAN and Aadhaar card. So I'm uploading a random PDF file for now. Then he needs to give the name of the depositor and also the name of the receiver. So the payment mode can be selected, amount, how much ever EMD has been paid. He will enter those details and enter the UTR number, transaction, when was the payment made, upload a payment slip as a proof of payment. The liquidator will verify using this verification only. So this will gone past the liquidation. So once the details are submitted, then the liquidator will be able to verify it under EMD approval here. So this will appear here, and he can approve the transaction, whether EMD has been received or not. He can verify using the documents uploaded, and also has bank the transactions, and then he can look out for it. Unfortunately, the has went past. I'll make a new one. Since this auction has already gone live, I won't be able to make it again.
No, it's okay. No, you explain in the.
Yes, sir. So then once the auction is live, the bidders will start to bid, and also during bidding, no bidder details will be available to any of the bidders. So bidder 1 bids for the reserve price, and then bidder 2 bids for an additional during incremental price. So only the value of bid placed by the secondary bidder will be visible, but not the name or the identity of the bidder will be revealed. Even the liquidator won't be able to see who has bid what amount during the auction. Only after the auction is over, the liquidator can download a bid history report, which will give him a detailed understanding of how many rounds of auction has gone, like who bid what amount at what time, including the last 3 digits of the microdecimal time. The auction bid report captures those details, and the bid history report is generated. Based on the bid history report, NeSL will provide with an auction report on the highest qualifying bid. So the liquidator can use that and proceed with the remaining payment from the H1 bidder. So that is how the e-auction portal works. I'm sorry I could not show you because due to the lapse of time, the auction got live earlier than before we could register the bidders.
Here also, like Araventhan was explaining, like during the process, even liquidator also cannot see who is bidding what and all. Yes. So it avoids a lot of avoidable issues. So that, there's a lot of confidentiality till. So a successful real price can be found out like that.
And we have successfully crossed more than 100 e-auctions, and Today also, like we are having 5 live auctions now. So and the amount, the gross value of total assets that are auctioned in our portal is approximately around 700 crores as of now for the past 1 year since we have got empanelment as a PDA service provider. Yes, sir. In case if anyone wishes to like get a detailed demo on e-auction or a PDA platform, you can contact my like I'll drop my mobile number as well as mail ID. In case if you wish to have a detailed demo, I can provide you with that. Yeah.
Sir, one question. I am Srinivas Sharma from Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if as an IP I register in NeSL for CRP case, not as a liquidator.
Yes, sir.
If any creditor wants to submit the claim, he also has to pay a fee to you if he wants to submit the claim.
Only the IP needs to get a subscription. All other users, even valuers, need not pay for subscriptions. Only IP will pay for his subscription and the case. So currently the charges are 10,000 per month per case.
Okay.
So like initially you can take the register the case for 3 months, and then if at all you want, renewals can be done at per month basis. Sir.
Yeah, the claimants need not have to pay, resolution applicants need not have to pay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
No one other than the IP will.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So we are also having, going forward, now IBBI has come out with only these services, complete full service where it can be sold. We have also this thing at the NeSL, we have a digital document execution. In case, like this have to be transferred through a document, any documentation to be executed, those can be done on our platform, including digital stamping. So you don't have to go by, today you decide, like this will be there should be an agreement between both the parties. The agreement can be executed on our DDE platform, which is not linked to this application as of now, but we have. See, we are a digital company, so anything, starting this from everything digital can be done on our platform as of now. So apart from this application, we have a DDE platform where the documents can be executed on our platform. So we have all the, say, this thing for which is required for auction of what is it, sir?
No, sir. I think it's
Okay. Sir, now if many of you would have know that there is a secondary loan market association which has been launched by like banks, IBA, RBI, this thing and all. Secondary loan market association is for selling, as of today, standard assets. Like if SBI wants to sell a particular asset, a part of an asset, like they have given a loan, substantial loan to ABC and company, and they now want to reduce the exposure. So out of 10,000 crore, even they want to sell 1,000 crore because of the RBI norms, group exposure and all. So those 1,000 crores they can sell on the market, for which, like we are now in discussion with them to use our VDR service, where the seller can put all the information about the company and the loan and the security, everything. So interested bidders can access that and bid for that. And once it is sold, there is a document which also can be executed on our platform, which will happen very soon. So the same platform can move, like, it is similar to us. So this our e-auction platform can be developed into that to deal exclusively the distressed assets. So we have the pieces in place. So it has to be assembled. That's all. Yeah. Any questions, please, sir? We are here to. Yeah. If there are no questions. Thank you all for patiently listening. And as he has given the number and mail ID, Mr. Araventhan. You can contact him, or you can write a mail to ipsupport@nesl.co.in. You will get a reply.
Sure, sir.
So, yeah. And yeah.
Rajat has asked how much do you charge for e-auction? So it is charged at rupees 4,000 plus tax for successful auctions and rupees 3,000 plus tax for unsuccessful.
Per lot.
Anyway, yes, per lot. Anyway, the payment needs to be done upfront. In case the auction turns unsuccessful, we'll keep a credit of 1,000, and you can pay for the second round. You can pay for only 3,000 plus tax. It's 4,000 for unsuccessful and 3,000 plus tax for unsuccessful per lot. That is per reserve price. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you,
Thank you.
Trishla, ICSI, IIP, and for giving us an opportunity to present our application. Thank you, Trishla.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah.
On the behalf of ICSI IIP, I would like to thank Chaudhuri sir and their entire team for being present here today and discussing and understanding the practical nitty-gritties of the subject. Thank you so much on the behalf of all the participants, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Araventhan.
For the second session, I will connect in 10 minutes. So we can have a 10 minutes break and then we'll start around 3 o'clock. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Sure. So we'll connect in 10 minutes for the second session. Thank you.
Thank you.
So shall we begin with the session?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to our second session of today's workshop. And to deliver the same, we have with us Mr. Anil Kohli, sir. Sir, I welcome you on the behalf of ICSI IIP and IBBI. Sir is a qualified chartered accountant and an advocate by profession. He has over 28 years of rich experience in banking and financial domain sector. Sir is also a founder and a designated partner of ARCK Resolution Professional LLP, which got duly registered with IBBI in September 2017, and is successfully providing infrastructure and support services to all the partners and insolvency professionals in handling high-value cases under IBC. Sir, on the behalf of our entire team, you may please begin with the session.
Yeah, thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. So today's topic we have is the presentation on developing a market for distressed assets and e-auction. This is, I can say, basically the prime, intent of law. So we have to, find out some resolution and some conclusion of the, this distress asset which we have received. We receive as in during our course of insolvency processes. And also generally distress assets are required to be, realized. So we will deliberate on that. So I will begin with the, So I will begin with the introduction to the stress assets. So we say that the distress assets represent the opportunity to purchase operational and good underlying assets with the potential to turn around at attractive valuations. So attractive valuations is what the investor is looking for in the distress assets. So definitely because there with the distress asset comes a little bit of litigation, and this definitely the investor would look for in some attractive valuations. So they can enable strategic investors to expand capacity in a cost-effective manner. And also it enables the strategic investors to expand the capacity, and then the game changer for these resolution of the stress assets has been IBC, which was introduced in 2016. So this code has given stress assets resolution a legal structure, definite procedures, and provide a level playing field for the domestic and foreign investors. It has established well-defined timelines for the resolution of distressed companies. It denotes a paradigm shift in which creditors take control of the assets of the defaulting debtors. So earlier resolutions, whatever were happening for the stress assets, you would appreciate that those were debtor in control. Generally, even if there was a filing of DRT suit or in BIFER, and as far as SARFAESI is concerned, also only when the bank takes over the possession, then only they got the control of the assets. So in this case, creditors take the control from the initiation, and under their control through the RP, there is a, they look for a resolution and for realization of their stressed assets. So basically now, so we'll see the categorization. Stress assets have been categorized into three baskets. One was substandard assets in the beginning when the just recently the asset becomes NPA. So it's after 90 days of irregularity. So the asset is classified as substandard. This is the beginning of the NPA stage. So prime focus is to look for realization or resolution in this stage itself, because therein you will find value in the corporate debtor. The unit is running generally, or the assets are not in a bad shape, and we find the valuations attractive. If the time passes, though the value erodes. So therefore, now henceforth
when in the beginning stages of IBC, we have got certain old outstanding stress assets which were coming into resolution processes, and the value generally was eroded, or the units were closed for long, and we were not getting that much of resolution perspective from the investors. And it was only the land, building, generally the land, because the building itself has also deteriorated in condition. So the underlying assets were in a bad shape, we can say, and the business were generally non-existent. So therefore, we have been seeing that there is a little resolutions have happened, and generally the matters have gone into liquidation, and value realization was very less, which is a prime concern of IBBI and the government, that why we are getting so much of a haircut during IBC. The only reason is the assets were outstanding for long. We had an old bunch of stress assets which were coming into resolution processes. So henceforth, we would see that the assets are coming in the beginning stages when it's just 90 days have passed, and it has just been classified as NPA. And later on, after 12 months, it is classified into doubtful, and wherein there is no security or loss asset, that is even after 12 months. So this is the scenario of RBI's classification. So the problem of distressed assets in India, the primary reason for this, which was observed by RBI for the spurt in the stress asset, it has been the aggressive lending practices. We have seen, what happened during 2008. 2008, there was a distress in the global markets. However, Indian markets could resist that stressful situation. So therefore, there was a nice kind of economic situation here in the country. So a lot of foreign funds were flowing. So which made, fund availability with the banks on a very strong position. So the banks had to lend the money for their viability. So that made them to aggressively lend. So between 2008 to 2015 or 14, there was a heavy lending, and I have also practically seen what the practice was going on is, if the person or the company, they are having say 100 crores of consortium advance, so other consortium members will join in, and they would join in, and they would say yes, now that since the diligence has been done, it's a safe company to put their bets in. So those companies from 100 crores, they were given even up to 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores, 10,000 crores. So they had to, since for utilization of the funds available with the banking sector. So that has been a very primary cause. So when the money was flowing easily, so it could not be put to that productive use by the corporate sector. So that has been the very primary reason which I have also observed. And they utilize the money in some non-productive situations, and maybe some real estate purchases have happened. So all that, yes, real estate spurted in that situation. However, later on, when there was a downfall in the real estate and the realizability issues came in, so the corporate went into defaults, and also the some funds cost, the company was not able to meet out of the running businesses. So the cost of the funds lent to them, that also was a reason for defaults. So that is one of the reason. Then willful default, yeah, there may be, besides this, certain willful defaults by promoters having an intention in the beginning itself to not to pay. So that has also been a reason. Then frauds have happened, which is again willful default. Then corruptions, etc., is also one of the reason. Finally, the economic slowdown. So post 2015, there was a slowdown in the country, which we have been seeing till recently. So that is also the reason for the distressed assets in the country. Sector-wise, stressed companies like commodities, materials, this is the maximum. We have seen rice industry coming into food commodities and all, the steel industry, all these have come into stressed assets the most. Then is the manufacturing sector, real estate, food processing. This is processing. Yeah, then retail industries, energy, BFSI. So likewise, it has been classified. So these are the sector-wise composition of the stress assets. So I would just give a glance to the journey of the country and recovery mechanisms which have been followed. So it started with the Sikh Industrial Companies Special Provisions Act, SICA. So SICA was the first attempt wherein BIFER was formed. And BIFER, they used to give restructuring opportunity to the corporates and some settlements or compromises and all that. So SICA came in 1985, but that was a huge failure because there was a provision in SICA wherein the recovery processes used to have come to an halt during the process of BIFER was going on. So as most of the corporates, they utilized this provision for just delaying the payments of their defaults. So that reason the SICA had failed. Then there was an introduction of RDDB Act, Recovery of Debts Due to the Banks and Financial Institutions Act, which is DRTs came in. So for any default for loan accounts more than 10 lakhs used to be given to DRTs. So wherein, the processes like court, the adjudication used to happen and it's still continuing. And then there is a recovery certificate. Then the recovery officers came in and they used to sell the assets. And all this also involved a lot of, I would say, corruption practices. And there was a very slow mechanism of adjudication. So that also did not give that much of fruitful results. So then there was a mechanism called CDR, Corporate Debt Restructuring Mechanism. This was utilized a lot. So it's still continuing. So corporate debt restructuring, they used to restructure and give some time for the defaulted amounts. The payment time was given and extended payments and all those things. So this was another mechanism for recovery. Then came SARFAESI Act, wherein ARCs have been formed and also banks were allowed to take over the possession of the securities and then sell it through auction. ARCs definitely have been very, active mechanism and banks have been able to utilize. And of late, earlier it was SR structure generally, the 595 structure where 5% was given in cash by the ARC and 95% to be given in shape of security receipts. But later on, it was increased to 1585 structure. So, but now generally banks are assigning mostly on cash basis. So, which is good for the banking industry also, because they are getting at least their distressed assets out of their books against cash. Otherwise, it was generally a book entry wherein the distressed asset came out of the books of the banking companies and fall into the books of ARCs. And the recovery mechanism again here was slow by ARCs because they were getting management fees for 3%, 4% per annum. And they were not very much inclined to recover the debt. So that's why ARC mechanism also in the SR structure did not find much of benefits for the banking. Only thing was their distressed asset went out of the books and we could see some, the same thing was lying as an investment then as SR. So which was actually not an investment. which was the same that distress asset or a bad asset, which was coming in the other side of the, which was coming in the other head, I can say, investments rather than a bad asset. So that was the only utilization. So that also could not be called a very effective way to recovery. So then, some other small mechanism like asset classification forbearance, then joint lending forum, JLF, and corrective action plan mechanism, flexible structuring of LT loans, 525. These kinds of policies came in. Later on, SDR mechanism also was introduced in 2015, wherein they could convert the debt into equity and take over the control. So there also bankers were not that much inclined because they did not have the knowledge or the the infrastructure to take care of the management of the company. So that also was not finding very good light of the day in the banking industry. Then 2016, there was a scheme of sustainable restructuring of stress assets, S4A scheme, and IBC. Basically, which we are generally concerned here is IBC, which came in 2016. And later on, further also, the government has went ahead in 2019 and introduced a prudential framework for the resolution of stress assets, wherein beyond IBC, a resolution plan can be given by the corporate and if it is acceptable to the lenders, that would find a resolution for the banks. So these are the mechanisms which have been used for solution of the distress assets. Then there was now basically after IBC, a need has been, there is a requirement for market of distressed assets. So now developing a market for distressed assets is very important for emerging economy like India, where the corporate bond market is under-penetrated and market participants are heavily reliant on the loans from banks. So with banks reeling under mounting NPAs, the need of the hour is to have a well-developed distressed asset market to offload the NPAs effectively. So we are going to discuss this, how we can meet this kind of need. So a secondary market for NPAs would reduce the debt collection burden on banks and free up the resources and capital to support new lending. It would also enhance the benefits of the market, as it would enhance the bank's risk management strategy by providing another instrument to manage the credit and market risk. Market for distressed assets would also support corporate restructuring and expand the sources of financing. It would improve the secondary market liquidity for loans and attract a wider range of institutional investors to assist in corporate restructuring. So in the near term, a market for distressed assets could support a faster recovery by facilitating the exit of non-viable firms and supporting the growth of viable ones. So over time, it would enable reallocation of resources toward more productive corporates and assist their reorganization and expansion. So this is sure, so one company which is not viable, so if some new management comes in that makes it viable, and the resources which have been going, unutilized or going into unnecessary, these companies and all. So that would be utilized in better sense, and some productive corporates could come in. So can I request for muting your mics? Yeah. Yes, I think muted. So IBC and the market for distressed assets. So the enactment of the IBC has created an efficient market for resolution of distressed assets. The law has given the distressed asset investment landscape in India legal structure, well-defined processes, responsibilities, and timelines. We all are aware, basically IBC is a process, duly structured process It's a very duly structured process and timelines are there. We have a timeline of 180 days for resolution of the asset. Then, the process is so well defined that we know on this day, we have to conduct this process. Form G is to be published, then how much time EOI is to come in, and then we have to give a final list, and then the resolution plans are invited, and within the timelines, the resolution has to be done. So that has been really a great effort, and also it has, I think it is the best possible mechanism which can be utilized in a structured way for the resolution of distressed assets. So, I will come further wherein we'll discuss how these distressed assets can be marketed in IBC. So then distressed asset investment in India can be seen to have come of age, offering astute investors to seize the opportunities to pick value assets. So now I have seen basically many foreign funds and AIFs are coming in. They are showing interest in picking up companies from the IBC market, and and also as the clarities are coming in, like 32A, and these kinds of things are coming in where government is also supporting, the courts are also supporting the resolution applicants, that is giving a confidence to the investors. So with that developing confidence, so the distressed asset market may be very attractive for the investors in time to come. And India is being looked at the most prominent and the I can say very bright market of distressed asset, and value companies are getting, the investors are getting the companies at a very nice value, which can be said to be very reasonable. And as far as cost benefit analysis, the investors are finding it attractive, and we are finding many structured investors coming in who are investing in the companies in IBC. So investors had largely been shying away from this space given the lack of robust and efficient regulatory frameworks. With the implementation of the code and ensuing progress in the resolution process, there is a genuine interest amongst the investors in the distressed assets investment markets, with the inherent below sell high potential, and businesses are looking for opportunities for buying good underlying assets with potentials for the turnout at a very reasonable valuations. So as I explained to you just recently, so the code has paved, we are just speaking about the benefits of IBC. So the code has paved the way for investors looking for business expansion through a process which is time-bound, information intensive, because we are giving the entire possible information by way of information memorandum. Then VDR, virtual data room, is there where they can find, the investors can find each and every response to their all their queries. And even the RPs are supporting the investors by giving whatever queries they raise. So the RPs are responding well. So, and also it ends with a plan that is binding on stakeholders. So that is very, I can say, prominent feature where it is binding, and once the plan is approved, so the investor is sure that the stakeholders cannot go beyond the plan he has written. So then he will find some certainty about his investment not going bad. So that is making it attractive. Then it has expanded the scope of resolutions, wherein the extent businesses can be acquired through mergers, amalgamations, demergers, and free of the past misdeeds of promoters. So that is 32A. So wherein there is no penalties or charges or costs for any act which was done or misdeed done by before CIRP. So that is the, I think, most attractive feature which has come in, and investors are being attracted towards taking over the distressed assets through IBC. Then capital intensive companies from infrastructure and power sectors that have come into corporate insolvency resolution process can now be brought by the investors at a competitive prices. So IBC has seen several successes as it has progressed well during past 5 years. So the examples we all know: SR Steel, JP Infra. JP Infra still okay in a nascent stage, but SR Steel, Bhushan Power and Steel, Bhushan Steel, and all those were very nice examples. So these JP, since it is such a huge corporate, so there is some time is being taken for its resolution. Otherwise, in any other mechanism, it would not have been possible even to progress this much. IL&FS, like finance companies, that DFL is also there. So all these things, are definitely landmark things in this IBC which we have achieved. So there have been certain judgments in these matters which are helping us out in providing answers to the questions which are raised, and very clarities are coming in slowly by the way of judgments, and we know that yes, this is the path to be followed, and interpretation of law is being done. So that has helped in a lot to the investors, and the RP, COC creditors all are being being facilitated by way of, I should say, these judgments. Then a new pre-pack framework has come in. So pre-pack is also a nice proposition, but there are certain, I should say, there is a hesitation because of certain provisions in this policy, which I am sure soon the government will come out with the solution for all those factors which are coming in the way of development of this framework. So I just attended this IBBI's annual day, wherein the Honorable Finance Minister was present. So it was discussed there also that pre-pack, she was concerned that pre-pack framework is not succeeding the way it should have done. So the reasons were asked, and the government, I think, is on the corrective path to do something, because since it is consensual way of resolution, and consensual way mitigates the risk of litigations a lot. So since consensual is the best way to progress, so this is coming up. Then setting up of National Asset Reconstruction Company, which is termed as Bad Bank. So that NARCL is now functional, is taking up it's there in the process. Can I request for muting? Madam, can you mute? Trishna, madam. Trishna ji, if you can mute all the participants. So NARCL, I will come later on. Will excuse me, can you please mute?
Suspension
Pawan Sharma ji, can you please mute? Pawan Sharma ji, can you please mute Pawan ji? Mr. Pawan Sharma. So then is introduction of 29A and 32A. 32A is actually a very nice development. Yeah, though 29A, yes, because promoters are barred, or the persons who have not a good history of credit, they are barred out of coming into this process. So definitely for the good ethics, I think definitely this is also a nice step. So then IBC's recovery rate is definitely better than in other routes, and the most prominent feature is that it keeps the company as a going concern, so which is good for the economy, for the employment, all these things. So the various investment routes in distressed assets are like this. First is takeover through the FDI, ECB or IBC route. The stress assets are taken up. Then offshore investors can come as foreign portfolio investors, FPIs. and also they can come through NBFCs. So that is a mechanism. Then 100% FDI has been permitted into ARCs, which is a good step foreign, because there are so many foreign companies or funds which are interested in the distressed assets in the country. So they find value and they are in the spree of, buying such companies at good valuations. So this enhances the value of the assets here, the corporates here available for in the distressed market. Then ARCs form a trust, that is their FPIs do also form a trust and to take over the stressed asset, the bad loans, and that is the route. Then NBFCs also directly take over the stressed assets and take the assignments. AIFs are also permitted, they can also take up this. If offshore investors can come through AIF route, or even the domestic AIFs are developing. This is all becoming a very prominent market player, AIF. So alternate investment fund. So they invest in the ARCs, SRs also, and when the ARCs have to buy in cash, so they do definitely need funding sometimes. So AIFs can take up the SRs and they can invest in the distressed asset through ARCs too. So assignment can be taken in cash backed by the SRs of AIF. So they have a win-win situation. So even if there is a good realization, so their SRs value is also enhanced. So they can benefit from that. So these are the investment routes which are being followed. Now, we'll come to the prudential network framework which has come. So these are also one of the mechanism. So prudential framework is still recent, so we can discuss on it. So a circular was issued in 12th February. So consortium and JLF, all those things have been dropped after this prudential framework. So as I told you, so I'll just read it out. The RBI had issued that circular introducing a revised framework for resolution of distressed assets by scheduled banks and all India financial institutions, which was struck down by Supreme Court India by its judgment. But on June 7th, 2019, RBI introduced a prudential framework for resolution of stressed assets, Directions 2019, providing fresh directions to the lenders on resolution of stressed assets. So the prudential framework has been formulated to strengthen and improve the credit culture and to ensure promotion of a strong and resilient financial system in India. It aims to address the concerns raised by Supreme Court of India in the Dharani Sugar judgment by inter alia prioritizing the incentive structures over compulsory initiation of insolvency against large borrowers. Rather than compelling lenders to initiate insolvency proceedings within certain timeline, the prudential framework instead provides a system of disincentives in the form of additional provisioning for delay in implementation of the resolution plan or initiation of insolvency proceedings. So the introduction of prudential framework showcases the RBI's continued focus on time-bound resolution of stressed assets. However, unlike prior framework, it appears that prudential framework is intended to provide a fair amount of flexibility to lenders to use their commercial judgment to put in place a resolution strategy. So one example is for this prudential framework. So this kind of plan was given by Jain Irrigation to Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange. Their plan was successful. So they have given information to this implementation of that plan of January. So what they gave is just for an example for the benefit of the participants. So they have informed that they have successfully implemented the debt resolution effective on so and so, and it was approved and announced on the joint lenders meeting, and after fulfilling all the conditions precedent on the master restructuring agreement. So on completion of this debt restructuring, normalcy has been restored to the accounts under the loan facilities granted by. So this is a very nice success where the company has come in normalcy so soon by implementing the plan given under this prudential network. So by all lenders, and all past irregularities and defaults have been cured. So the debt resolution was invoked on June 30th after a series of consultations with the lenders. It was triggered due to certain delays in debt servicing induced by extended working capital cycles faced by the company due to delay in receipts from government. So the key highlights of this plan is the resolution plan has been implemented as per the notification of prudential framework. The plan has received RP4 rating from ICRA and CRISIL. Debt restructuring has been completed with the unanimous approval of all secured lenders. The total amount of debt restructured is 3,878 crores. So about 40% of the total debt has been converted into long-term NCDs at a rate of interest of 0.01%. And proposed infusion of equity by the promoters is 267 crores, 40% already infused, balance infusion within 18 months, 7.89 crores ordinary equity shares issued to the lenders. During this period, the company also restructured overseas bonds of 200 million USD. Company will share more details once the books of accounts are audited are there. Impact on the company and its performance. See the impact of this resolution. There is an access to additional working capital facilities of approximately 300 crores, significantly reduced interest costs, deferred payment to the lenders, improved fund flow for business, overall improvement in the operations and performance of the company. So MD and CEO said, I'm very pleased to say consortium of lenders led by SBI and company have worked together to protect the interest of all stakeholders. The journey of this plan from its inception till implementation has been arduous. However, the belief and trust of all stakeholders and more particularly of the lenders in the management and the untiring efforts at everyone's end involved in the process has helped the company and its management to sail through this phase and achieve successful implementation of the plan. The debt resolution exercise involved a series of chronological steps and evaluations by lenders and financial agencies. The period coincided with onslaught of COVID, and hence certain steps in the process took extended time to closure. However, the company and lenders and agencies found ingenious workable solution. So during COVID also, 19 to 22 was, we can call a COVID period. However, the company and the lenders and agencies found ingenious workable solutions to coordinate and communicate during the challenging period. There were several iterations of certain processes, and the company is pleased to mention that these were concluded satisfactorily. The demand environment for the core business of micro so-and-so is very robust, and the company is confident to regain and increase market share. The debt resolution exercise has also been a learning for the company in two critical areas, working capital management and cost control. So all said and done, basically, it has definitely, we can call a very nice, successful mechanism wherein a corporate which was in distress and was not able to perform has come out to be a sustainable corporate, and and saying with such a proud that. So this is for the resolution of the stress asset. So other market players for the stress assets, we have classified into 4. So asset reconstruction companies, NARCL, special situation fund, and electronic platform for distress assets. So we'll take up one by one. So what all these means. So these are the market players which take over the. Can I? Mute. Yeah. So the typical ARC structure is there is an investor or an offshore fund which puts in 100% investment. That can be in the shape of FDI or also local investors, domestic investors definitely. So an ARC is formed, and then ARC enters into investment management agreement, which can be 15% SRs or 85% SRs. So 100% investment by FPI from investors is also permitted in these SRs. They can take over the SRs. They can even fund it so that they can buy in cash. Then the cash consideration of banks simply gives the assigns the debt to the trust, to the ARC, and which works through the trust. And then, loan bonds shares can hold 100% equity also. So that way the asset or the account is taken over by the ARC. So this is the ARC's mechanism. So there is a regulatory framework for ARCs. So the ARCs are registered and regulated under SARFAESI Act 2002. They acquire financial assets from banks, FIs, either on their own books or in the books of a trust set up for the purpose of securitization or reconstruction. RBI has issued the securitization companies and reconstruction companies guidelines and directions 2003 covering the whole gamut. Indian ARCs have been private sector entities registered with RBI. Public sector AMCs in other countries have often enjoyed easy access to government funding or government backing, which is not in India. So generally the private sector is involved. Now NARCL has come with government backing. So that is backed by government. So now this thing we can say now has been cured in this country, that government has also come in as a player in the distressed assets market through this bad bank. So capital constraints have often been highlighted as an area of concern for ARCs in India. Data shows that the performance of ARCs has not been good in terms of recovery and revival, as I told you earlier. So that has been a factor. The key factors behind the suboptimal performance here, given some more, that the age-old NPS passed on to the ARCs. Banks also generally, select and assign the debts. The easy ones are kept by themselves to realize, and the difficult ones are the old ones which were had a stagnant kind of history that are passed on to the ARCs. So definitely this is a commercial call of the banking sector. So then difficulties have been faced by ARCs in raising their funds. So though now there is an availability of 100% FDI, so that may help them. Then non-availability of additional funding for stressed borrowers, etc. So definitely help for the functioning of ARCs. So one of the ARC, like we are talking about, the government backing. So government has come out, with this bad bank, NARCL, so which is National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited. So it has been incorporated under the Companies Act and has applied to the Reserve Bank of India. So all this has been done now. So ARCL picks up the bad loans. Now they are picking up and assignment is happening above a certain threshold from the banks, and would aim to sell them to the prospective buyers of distressed debt. So NARCL will also be responsible for valuing bad loans to determine at what price they would be sold. The bad bank would provide government receipts to the banks. So instead of security receipts earlier, which were did not have a backing or guarantees, so here there is a government guarantee to the security receipts, so which can be attractive for the investors. So definitely for the banks, basically for the banks. So the banks are more inclined to rely on the government than on the private players. So they take on non-performing assets from the books backed on the security receipts guaranteed by the government. So the state-owned banks hold 51% stake, and other debt management companies or financial institutions hold 49%. So along with NARCL, the government has also set up India Debt Resolution Company, IDRCL. So for resolution of the assets taken over by the NARCL. So IDRCL is a service company or an operational entity which will manage the assets and loop in market professionals and turnaround experts. So public sector banks and public FIs will hold a maximum of 49% stake, and the rest will be with the private sector lenders. So here, private sector people have also been called in the IDRCL, because it's basically the practical company which is into resolution. So their job will be more interesting to resolve the distressed asset. And definitely they are taking steps, which I am also seeing in resolution process. So they have already prior to assignment, they have already started working. So for their strategies, I have been in touch with NARCL people, some teams have joined from other institutions. So definitely they are working well in this field for resolution. So next. So government will not have any direct equity contribution to NARCL. It will guarantee the securities receipt issued by NARCL, which will buy the bad loans from banks. These receipts will be valid for 5 years, and the condition precedent for invocation of guarantee will be resolution or liquidation. And NARCL is intended to resolve stress loan assets above rupees 500 crores. So basic concept is that larger accounts and wherein there are numerous banks involved. So since what has been found is there is a very lack of decision making when there is a consortium. One bank may take another stand, other bank may take another stand towards the same issue, and also approvals. Sometimes 90% of the lenders are agreeable, but one of the lender may face problems with their internal approvals. There may be some difficulty of policies or the approach, the positive approach or the negative approach, and the conservative thoughts also of the management that may hamper the resolutions. So therefore, mostly the consortium loans would be assigned to NARCL, wherein more than maybe 4 or 5 banks are involved, so that the process of decision making is fast, which will definitely help out in the resolution of the distressed asset. So then in the first phase, fully provisioned assets of about 90,000 crores are expected to be transferred, while the remaining assets with lower provisions would be transferred in the phase 2. So as per industry practice, it will pay up to 15% of the agreed value for loans in cash and the remaining 85% in SRs. So this is basically the practice for the ARCs, though the banks are not inclined to part with their debts on basis of security receipt. But here, when there is a government guarantee, the lenders are definitely more confident. And also there are certain directions from government. There may be assignments priority will be given for NARCL. So once the NARCL's offer is accepted, IDRCL will be looped in for management and value addition. So they would be practically resolving. They would look for what kind of action, IBC or SRFAC or whatever, that all will be handled by IDRCL. So how is NARCL different from the existing ARCs? The majority ownership is with the state-owned banks. This is one thing. Then presently the ARCs typically seek a steep discount on loans. With NARCL, the valuation issue is unlikely to come up since this is a government initiative. So definitely the lenders can realize on the value they are offering and the value they have derived for the asset, and they are sure that there may not be malpractices and they may get a better value. Even whatever will be possible will be done for resolution and for passing on the benefit to the lenders. The government-backed ARC will have a deep pockets to buy out big accounts and thereby free up the banks from carrying these accounts in their books. One more thing was happening. ARCs, what they were doing generally, they were buying out of the consortium 1 or 2 banks, they were buying out the debt. Other lenders still remained. So the multiplicity of the bankers in one account itself, even if the ARC comes in, they will represent 1 or 2 banks. So that again makes the system complex for decision making, because each one will have their own commercial call. So NARCL, since it's buying from the entire banking, so that would definitely be more attractive and more beneficial, and will be seen as a first option, better option, because there will be a one platform one place where all the decisions are to be taken about that particular account, and resolutions may be faster. So that also can give a boost to the banks to take decisions for assignment to the NARCL. So the NARCL and IDRCL would function within the boundaries of the existing regulatory framework for resolution of stress assets. IBC ecosystem would further facilitate the resolution on a faster mode, paving way for the value maximization and realization in a quicker timeline. NARCL, IDRCL, and IBC would complement activities of each one another. So the objective of resolution of stress asset through NARCL, IDRCL mode will be to facilitate the entity in gaining its health back and continue to be productive in the economy. A recovery of the dues is not the prime objective of IDRCL. Accordingly, the role of IDRCL will be to manage the stress asset in a way which would enhance and maximize the value of the entity, facilitating early resolution within the timelines and enhance the public confidence through professional approach in the process of resolution. So the concept of NARCL is practically relevant, specifically in wake of the complex financing structure in India, where a consortium of lenders pitch in to fund a huge project. Each lender, though functioning under purview of RBI, but have separate organizational policies to deal with the stress assets, as I told you. And decision making by consensus is a huge challenge with different mindsets, different criteria, and different evaluation parameters. So these issues will be taken care of. So we had a classic case recently where a resolution plan by Twin Star International Vedanta Group company submitted for Videocon Group, though was approved by the Committee of Creditor by requisite majority, was restored to the COC post certain financial creditors themselves, members of COC themselves filed application against the plan, and later were seconded by certain other financial creditors who wanted to reverse their decision approving the plan. So based on that application, the litigations, so even the members who approved had backed out. So these issues come when there are multiplicity of the lenders. So merits apart, to be judged by the tribunal or authorities, this puts a serious question mark on the process itself. Had there been a consolidated financial creditor, the resolution could have been better. Hence, in NARCL structure, where it has been proposed that the debt will be consolidated, will give an effective resolution of the cases where consortium is involved. A government sovereign backing will also ensure wider participation from a wide spectrum of resolution applicants, ensure an upper hand in negotiations with the resolution applicants, ensure better coordination with the statutory authorities like NAI and SEBI, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, etc. So this may open the avenues for of financing to the acquisition of the assets by prospective buyers, which is almost impossible at this time, as no financer wants to fund the acquisition of stress asset with uncertainties surrounding them. The coming up of NARCL is expected to bring about an element of certainty in the entire process. So this is the biggest thing, which would happen by coming in of this NARCL. Nice step taken by government. So then is another, after ARCs, the second player, which we can say is special situation funds. So in order to protect the interest of the investors in securities and to promote the development of and to regulate the securities market, the SEBI has, by notification in 22 itself, amended the SEBI regulations. Under the AIF, Alternate Investment Fund Amendment Regulations, SEBI has introduced the concept of SSFs, Special Situation Funds. Subsequently, SEBI has issued circular to provide clarity to the SSF framework. They have defined the SSF as the SSF have been categorized as Category 1 Alternative Investment Fund. SSFs will invest only in special situation assets. Special situation is this distress asset in accordance with its investment objectives and may act as a resolution applicant under the IBC. So this is a new kind of RA coming in for all of us, and maybe we'll find better competition for the present structure of local investors coming in. So definitely they will value the asset better and will not look for only for earning we can say in huge margins. So they would provide value to the lenders, to the creditors, and to the process itself. So this is a new, very nice development, definitely. So special situation asset, we would just see what's the definition. So the stressed loan available for acquisition in terms of master direction of RBI as amended from time to time as a or as a part of resolution plan approved under IBC or in terms of any other policy of the Reserve Bank of India or Government of India issued in this regard from time to time. Or the security, so basically the loan, which is a bad loan, one is that, then also SRs, as I told you, issued by ARC. So these special situation funds can invest in either directly in the bad loan or also they can invest in the plan which has been approved. They can be an investor to the RAs also. And they can invest in the security receipts of the ARC. This would give a boost to the ARC in buying out or getting the assignment of assets, bad debts in cash mechanism, and this can be also one of the very nice structure, nice avenue for market for the distressed assets. Then securities of the investee companies they can invest in, or any other assets which may be specified by SEBI later. So as per the AIF regulation, the SSF shall invest only in special situation assets. So which include almost whatever is available in the distressed assets market, and may act as a resolution applicant. This is a nice provision or development. So the SSF is not allowed to invest in its associates or the units of any other AIF other than the units of a special situation fund. So units of the SSO, this is primarily focused only on the distressed assets. So not on other investments they can put. So all the funds will go to our distressed market. So can be a boost for the distressed assets market, And they cannot also invest in SSF managed or sponsored by its manager, sponsor, or associates of its manager or sponsor. So just to prevent malpractices, so they have come in like this. So that diversion of focus should not be from the distressed assets. Only focus should be to invest in the distressed asset. So this is the special situation fund. So how you can the investment will come in the SSF. So at least the corpus is 100 crores, 100 crores. And the SSF will accept the investment of the value not less than 10 crore rupees from an investor. In case of an accredited investor, the SSF shall accept an investment of value not less than 5 crore rupees. Further, in case of investors who are employees or directors of the SSF or employees or directors of the manager of the SSF, the minimum value will be 25 lakh rupees. So anyone can come in and invest within these parameters. So giving the required feed to the SSF for further investment in the distressed assets. So this development definitely is going to help out strengthening the market for the distressed assets, and we definitely need such kind of players who can straight away invest in the our distressed asset. So SSF intending to act as a resolution applicant under IBC shall ensure compliance with the eligibility requirement provided under insolvency law. Then SSF acquiring stress loan. So in respect of SSF acquiring stress loan in terms of clause 58 of master direction of RBI, the following is specified in the circular. SSF can acquire stress loans in terms of clause 58 of RBI master direction upon inclusion of SSF in respective annex of the master direction. Then stress loan acquired by SSF in terms of the direction shall be subject to minimum lock-in period of 6 months However, the lock-in period shall be inapplicable in case of recovery of stress loan from the borrower. And the SSF acquiring the stress loan in terms of direction shall comply with the same initial and continuous due diligence requirements for its investors as those mandated by RBI for investors in ARCs. So the example is there, which can address how the SSF can address the unique opportunities in the stress asset market. So Kotak Special Situation Funds, already there are special situation funds coming in. So Kotak, backed by the Kotak Bank, is one of that. So which is managed by Kotak Investment Advisors, has acquired Pyrus Commercial Projects Private Limited for an amount of 450 crores under IBC in March 22. So the early bench of NCLT had approved the plan of KSSF-led consortium, which includes an all-cash deal. Pyrus is engaged in leasing out commercial space and predominantly known as owns the Pyrus Platinum Building located in Saket with a leasable area of 259,000 square feet. So this is about the stress situation fund. So we have covered two ARCs and the SSFs. So now there are certain electronic platforms being created. IBBI had issued directions for creation of electronic platforms which are registered with IBBI. So as of now, they have registered two kind of electronic platforms. One is NeSL and another is M-Junction. So we'll just show you the site of NeSL just to have a glance, So there they list all the things available with them, and public announcements are made. PDA status we can see, So what all is PDA is available with them. So what all they are giving, Niche. Yeah, this is all. So other things, we can take up. So then is M-Junction. M-Junction is a very old company, Calcutta-based company. I have dealt with it. So they are also into buying of stress assets. So this electronic platform can be used by us for, by putting in our distressed assets. And they themselves are also investors and they locate investors. So if something is put in their platform for, available for the investors, so that would boost the, chances of getting an investor for the distressed assets. So this is a feel of the, platform, how they are putting in. So they say that we assist the business in maximizing the sales realization and procurement, etc. All those things are there. So yeah. So they have an e-market place also, that is platform technology to grow the bottom line. So all this they are putting in. So this way, they are put in the corporates. So these kind of electronic platforms, more will come, and more platforms will come, which will help definitely in by increasing the scope for investors to find information about the assets available for them, distressed assets, and also these may help out but for themselves investing in the distressed assets. So increasing the market players for the distressed assets. So then there is a market for interim financing. Virtual data room is provided. So invitation and evaluation of resolution plans is done by them. Then auctions are conducted therein during liquidation. So which will have advance the development of market for distressed assets. So this way the electronic platforms can be helpful. There are developments coming in, a lot of developments coming in, since ours is a, we can say, niche kind of market. And we have recently entered into a structured and private kind of setup for a disposal of the distressed assets. And, the investment, perspectives are growing, and the investors are also finding the market attractive. So by government is definitely coming in for doing some kind of, take steps or bringing in such kind of platforms to boost the market and making it attractive for the investors also. So this is another development. So these were the available market players. So now we will come to IBC's perspective. So our investor or RA, what they look for, what kind of expectation is of an RA or the investor who is investing in a distressed situation. So what he wants is a time-bound resolution. So the code, though conceptualized and has been streamlined over time to reinforce the same, the ground realities are different from the expectations of investors. The delay which is happening more or less in litigations, adjudication process, and other factors, which is our approvals also, one of the factor that is causing, a significant erosion in the value proposition. For example, it has been observed that the prices of all raw material used in the construction industry like cement, iron, steel have seen a huge rise of late in the couple of years. And the resolution plans proposed in some cases are, however, been languishing with the adjudicating authority for more than this period. So when an RA gives a plan, he has a certain market situation before him. So he studies the market, and based on that market study, he would invest. But when the equations change while the plan is approved or is implemented, so the RA definitely feels set back. So then the interest of the investor and all his calculations and the projection he has made, so come down, like, and the RA's interest goes, diminishes a lot. So this kind of delays we have to first of all work out, and we have to find solution to these delays so that the RA and investors find it as a nice business proposition, and are more attracted. More and more investors are attracted to come in the distressed market. So in this, like I have told, the feasibility of the resolution plans in these cases is questionable. So how to insulate the new investors by ring-fencing liabilities and relaxation in the taxation norms for stressed accounts upon takeover. So there is a huge ambiguity. So 32A is there, but I would show you one example. Even 32A being there, the attachments by Enforcement Directorate, by the SFIO, by the CBI, EOW, MPIDs, or the tax authorities, all these kinds of, attachments, they don't go automatically. The RA is still is supposed to go before the respective authorities, even the courts, the designated courts, for getting it adjudicated, then the attachment. So there should be definitely automatic implementation of this 32A as soon as the plan is approved. Though this is the intent of the code. The code provides it like that. Say upon approval of the plan, so all this will go, the attachments won't be there, no penalties for the previous offenses. But the RAs, in the actual reality, they are facing so many issues regarding the attachment, regarding the penalty proceedings are continued, and the RA has to run behind the authorities saying that yes, plan has been approved, there is so and so provision. Then the courts will take their own sweet time to adjudicate upon their request. And this is a factor which is hampering the incoming of the investors in this field of distressed assets. Once this is these things are solved, the value propositions are going to entirely change, and the investors, there will be new I can say lot of investors which can come in and find a good proposition with no such kind of, they discount. When they give the value proposition, they discount all these factors, that they have to go through all the rigors of handling the litigations. Though all these factors, when they discount, the value which they offer comes down heavily. So which hampers the values for the creditors, also the stakeholders, and also hampers the interest of the investors. So these things need to be taken care of. So due to these ambiguities over unknown liabilities post-acquisition, more significantly on treatment of financial claims related to corporate guarantees and letter of comfort, etc. So if there are certain bank guarantees or corporate guarantees there, how those will be dealt. So these things are there. Then till date, taxation laws are also not clear as to how the write-downs, reversals of liabilities towards financial creditors. See, there may be a situation where the writing off of the liabilities may be taken as, because the tax law is like that the liability written off is taken as income. So there is no clarity on it. So the financial creditors, operational creditors, contingent liabilities, claims admitted but not recorded, so that how it will be treated from the point of view of income tax. Though this is just an accounting accommodation, but still the ambiguity exists. So these ambiguities need to be taken care of to enhance the value proposition. Then compliances should be made easy, because there are various regulatory authorities like ICAI and SAB, MCA. They may come out with guidance on how to deal with various compliances, including relaxation on applicability of various accounting standards, the listing requirements, the publication of quarterly reserves, etc. during CRP period, or for cases undergoing the financial restructuring. So these kind of compliances and many more compliances, to be done by the RA. Though, so all these factors definitely add on to the discount on the value propositions which the RA is offering for the stressed asset. So no witch hunting. So it has been seen that the multiple agencies engage in the witch hunting post-acquisition, takeover by the investor, seeking details, records, which may no longer will be available with them. Like in one of my matter itself, SFIO is behind the RA now. So you provide so-and-so record of so-and-so period, the documents, specific documents are being asked. So he would say that, yes, there is no, this thing is not available. So how he would dig in the documents and, find out for them. So these investigations, are kind of post-mortem proceedings. So that definitely would, hamper the RA's interest. And when they have to deal with such kind of agencies, there is a fear factor amongst the RAs that SFIO or EDs may come in their place, and they would have to face all the rigors by them. And it's a setback. It's a setback for the RA or the investors to come in for the resolution of the distress asset. So these things also need to be taken care of. The authorities, the taxation authorities, the investigating authorities, the compliance authorities, or the regulatory authorities like SEBI or TRAI, or all these, and the enforcement directories, etc., all need to be guided by the government, or something like this will come in, definitely will come in, which will make the propositions brighter. Then implementation of 32A, as I have told you, in letter and spirit. So though the legislature has taken cognizance of the issues that SRA may face post-approval of resolution plan by the Honorable NCLT, it has been observed that it is practically not getting implemented, and the SRA has to run from pillar to post to get the attachments of various statutory authorities like AD, MPIP, MPID, and income tax authorities, etc. So, and then assessments of previous years come in, the past years, though it's not the liability of the RA, but the assessment he has to go through, and which is an infructuous exercise. So this all needs the education of the authorities. So they need to be educated about the provision, how IBC works, how they should deal with the newly structured companies which have been taken over by the resolution applicants or by the investors. So that needs to be definitely worked out by the government, and we are hopeful slowly the things are improving. So now some practical things, what we have experienced. So I would like to share some experiences. So how we do try to, market our distressed assets and bring in more prospective investors for our processes. So like what we can do is, we contact the industry players to ensure maximum participation. Like I will give an example also, like how, what kind of, this is one of the matter wherein we had marketed the process so vigorously. We got 27 PRAs for this rice industry. All these PRAs came in. So we were able to resolve it also. Now the plan is implemented to the extent that the lenders have got all their amounts. So though there are attachment and all those issues coming in, yeah. So see, so I'll let you know how we got the final 2 resolution plans. So that also I'll show you in the further in the this slides. I'll show you how we went in. Then one more thing what we can do. So there are certain specific exhibitions, like for the rice industry, there is an exhibition in Gulf Food in Dubai. So we went to the extent of attending this exhibition where the industry players from entire globe are present. So we can market our product, our process, or the corporate data which we are having, the process which is going on, and to find prospective investors. And there may be a better prospect of getting some good investor since these kinds of exhibitions have all the players of that industry from the entire globe. So these things will definitely have improved. And in this matter itself, which I am talking about, the plan earlier was of 40 crores only. And when we attended this exhibition, we got one of the international investor and who came in, and finally, the plan was enhanced to the value more than double, 87 crores. 87 crores is the final amount at which we resolved this matter. So this way also, you can market your distressed asset, market your process. Then we can use even the industry's directories. There are each and every industry has an association or certain kind of agency involved. So which publishes the list of the players in that industry. Yeah, definitely we will share the PPT to the ICSI. So I'll show you an example wherein we had a corporate debtor from dairy industry. So from the dairy industry, we got what we did is there is a publication that is a directory called Dairy India, which gives a very substantial information about. So let us explore also. I'll show you how this contains, the list of. No. Huh? Okay. It's there in the book. Okay. It's all about it. But this directory was so comprehensive that it has got all the details of the players, even their, what all they are producing, what is their size, what are their financials, who all are the people, and a complete compendium is there, and 7,000 organizations of dairy industry were there. So we contacted all of them, and in the first attempt we were able to sell it as a going concern and that dairy industry, and we got a value much more than the reserve price also. There were so many participants in the auction, and this attracted the players of that industry, and basically the thing was resolved, and it was a nice kind of outcome which we got just by referring to such a publication. So your resolution teams can definitely look for, every industry will have such a publication, so can work on it. Then, during liquidation, when we are selling the real estate, so there are platforms like 99 Acres, Magic Bricks. We can even publicize. There is no bar in publicizing on these platforms. We can publicize our asset there and even put in the auction notices, and you can find good buyers, the people who are really interested in particular that thing, because these have a segment like commercial, industrial, or specific sectors. Like when you go for commercial, there is a, if it is commercial or there is a segment for each and everything, even the industrial plots and industrial buildings. Yeah, it's there in that commercial itself. So you will find out that, see industrial lands and plots, commercial, even cold storage, hotels and resorts, factory and manufacturing. So the person who is looking, even they can put in the criteria like the amount, the location. So if that location suits in, our parameter suits the buyer, so specifically we reach that buyer, and we can get a ready buyer and who is actually interested. And these have a global presence, or these kind of platforms are accessed by global players also. And the specific person who is interested in the specific proposition which we are offering, so can come in, and this may be fruitful and definitely can conclude the matter in a better way. So definitely this is one of the platform which can be very useful. Even IBBI, there is a provision wherein we can upload our auction notices or the invitations we publish. So these things, IBBI platform is also accessed nowadays by the investors. They have come to know, generally the investors know about that, what all is available. Can I again request for muting the mic? We'll take up the questions just in a while. I will give 30 minutes for question answers. So you can speak in that during that period. And we'll definitely discuss and deliberate on the subject, which can, enhance all of our knowledge, even mine and yours. So we can deliberate on it. Then is publicity of e-auction or sale on the website of the IPE. Like we have our website. So what we do, we put in all the notices in our website, and like this. And this is the cases, with us. So we put in the information memorandum. Oh, sorry, not the process document, the information about the proposition available. This for 37A also we put specifically. So the process document is there, the RFRP is there. So whatever corrigendums have been issued. So all its processes we publish here, wherein the investor can come in. So, and we give the reference of this platform in our publications also. And this has helped, like in this Margra case itself, the reserve price was 12 crores. We were able to sell it at 17 crores, much more than the reserve price. Max Mobile, we have sold more than the liquidation value. Moser Beer, I have sold in 350 crores, much more the liquidation value. So definitely, the more we publicize, the more the people can access. They will definitely find better. You will find better investors, and which will enhance the value realization. Yeah. So then is we can even approach the SRAs whose resolution plans have been approved in other matters. So what happens is IBBI gives specifically the list of the processes where resolutions have been approved. So what we can do is, even we can go to the places like Legal Astra or on NCLT side, we can look for those corporate debtors and find out the people who are behind that resolution plan. So we can approach them, because maybe those players, they are interested investors who are interested to invest in stressed assets. So we get good, specific particular response from such kind of players. So that is also one of the mechanism. Like in one of the matter, so as I told you already, I have told you that we went to Dubai, and the consideration since was very low, and we got, the COC was not interested And then in the next process, we got another investor. So the value enhanced by more than double. So double the value we got. And, that was a value maximization with the provision in IBC, for the stakeholders. That was nicely achieved. So this definitely helps out. Many more things can be done. It's not only that these specific things. So as I have been into this field of distress assets since SARFAESI came in 2002. So I am a resolution agency for almost all the financial and banking institutions. So Kingfisher matter was also handled by me. So we ourselves can have our contacts with the investors. There can be your own pool of investors who can be contacted, and that is there is all development of market for the distressed assets. So this way, you can find some kind of interest. Like also, publication should be wide. It's not only formality kind of thing which we do in a lower cost publications and which don't have much of circulation. So like in the bigger matters, we publicized even in the entire nation. So like Times Group, all the publications, Pan India publication was done. So more than I think more than 100 newspapers were covered of Times Group. So the NCLT, when they also saw it, they found it very nice effort undertaken. So I'll show you the publication, and the publication should also be a bright publication, which is not just a formality. So it should be visible, prominent. So like here we have, colored the publication, put it in color so that it can be distinguished from the other advertisements. And the investor is, the concerned investor, he immediately gets a glance of it. So it should not be just a formal kind of thing, just to do the formality. We should try to, enhance the the possibilities of visibility of our publication. So this can be done by various mechanisms. First is wide publicity in wider covered papers, then putting in brighter colors, and then I have told you so many other things. So these are all the markets which I feel, in my view, can be explored for getting, investment, propositions for our distressed assets. And many more are coming in. I was hearing in a meeting, we had a roundtable meeting in IBBI, wherein they have even proposed that internationally the IBBI will conduct some kind of, conferences or also some road shows wherein they can publicize the platforms and they can publicize some of the distressed assets also, so that the investors can know that yes, something is available in this country for their of their interest, and where they can get a good value propositions. So these kind of efforts are also being undertaken. So road shows or conferences, particular conferences for investors, for giving them knowledge about the what all is available and how all they can be protected, how their interest can be protected. So there can be workshops for the investors by even our IPAs. So they can have particular workshops or conferences for the investors in the distressed assets. So where they can tell them how their interest will be safeguarded. So what protections have been given in the law, and what all way they can access the informations. So that can also help. And that would be, I think, very nice. This industry associations can, like PhD Chamber or the CII or FICCI, all these can also organize certain kinds of conferences, particularly for the investors. Like the state government, sometimes we see they have for attracting investments in their states. They do their conferences or exhibitions. So there can be exhibitions also, not only the conferences, they can be particular exhibitions for displaying the propositions available, or various organizations can participate who can convince them. Particularly, I think even the taxation authorities should be invited to participate, and they can also assure that yes, we will also come to your rescue, and we will assure you that yes, you won't face issues if you are coming in for resolution. So these kinds of things can be done. Then mostly the most required is a strengthening of infrastructure at NCLTs, faster adjudication. So that would also make it a better proposition. And then automatic implementation of 32A to sum up. So these all are things which can be done for better prospects of the resolution of distress assets. So thank you. So this is my presentation. So now, since we have 30 minutes only, so we can take up questions.
Sir, I am Srinivas Sharma from Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
One difficulty which the resolution applicants are facing is, once the assets are bought in an auction or in a CRP process also, this this power connections and all, it is very difficult to get because they are getting very meager amounts for their claims, and they are hell-bent on receiving their full amounts. So they are not giving the power connection again to the new, even though it is a new management, all these power companies and they are not recognizing this IBC at all. In this area, the IBBI or any these regulators are, they have to write to state governments, or they should do something on this aspect, because without these basic utilities, the new resolution applicant cannot function, even though he acquires the assets. What is your view on this, with your experience and all?
No, definitely. I'll give you a very nice solution also. This is being faced by one of my RA also. But what we have done is, in one of the matter, you can refer to that matter. It is a Kalpataru alloys, and Gujarat, I think Bijli Nigam versus Kalpataru, something like this. Gujarat Electricity Board versus Kalpataru alloys is the matter. NCLAT has given the judgment in my matter that they have directed the Bijli Board to give the connection to the newly structured corporate debtor immediately. So since their claims have already been dealt with as per the provisions of law, so they were bound by the NCLAT judgment. So you can refer to this judgment also, Kalpataru alloys judgment of NCLAT. Then it was this was properly implemented, and they got the connection by virtue of this this kind of directions of the court. And this is one of the way. Otherwise, sometimes what you have to do is, if they don't want a quick solution, the electricity boards, there can be a little bit of sacrifice, but we can say, but the settlement is also an option. So these electricity boards do like I am doing in one of the matter, because litigation is not getting resolved so long. So now we are settling it with them. CRP dues, definitely we do pay if we have utilized the powers during the CRP period. In that matter, CRP period, they restructured the bills themselves for the CRP period, but continued to the interest, etc., outstanding for the previous dues. So we settled with them. So they agreed that okay, only for the CRP period, as a CRP cost, if we pay them, so they were okay to provide the connection. So these two things can definitely help you out. One is settlement, second is that judgment. So then NCLAT judgment can come to the rescue. You can show that RA can, give the reference to the Bijli, that electricity board particularly, or also the RA can approach the court, or the RP can also, the monitoring professional can approach the court seeking a direction for the electricity people.
One more area is, you are saying that wide publicity should be given for this e-auction of assets or getting better quotes from all over India or all over the other areas also, even overseas. So it all involves a lot of cost. How to manage it?
See, what I do basically, I try to find out resources within the corporate debtor which can be liquidated or which can be realized. Like in this matter where we went to Dubai, so we had certain stocks which were lying for old rice or khadanja rice they call it, and some packing materials. All this was lying there. We realize out of that. So if some of the assets which can be sold in the ordinary course of business and we get the resources, then also the creditors, we can educate them that yes, if they spend out certain such kind of amounts, it will enhance the value for them itself. Or even for that matter, if we just get the approval and if the IP himself is competent, we generally do spend out of pocket so as to because it will help in getting us remuneration also. Like in liquidation, if we are able to sell, we will also gain out of it. So we will get a better remuneration. So we do invest for that purpose, and later on as a liquidation cost, we can definitely recover out of the realized amount. So that's why IBBI now recently they have allowed the IPEs to be IP. And I'm telling you, in the times to come, the bankers would prefer assigning the matters to the IPEs, because first of all, IPE can be the entity only if they have a net worth of not less than 1 crores. So they have resources. So if such kind of resources are available with the insolvency professional himself, that can also be one of the way to fund it. I know there are difficulties getting money from the creditors, from the banks particularly. So all this, first of all, how good we can convince them, how good we can tell them, yes, what will be the cost benefit analysis we can say. So we can guide them and educate them about the cost benefit analysis. So that would also help in getting the required funds.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Yeah.
for clarification. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Good advice, actually.
Thank you. Thank you. So if some other person can share your experiences for the benefit of the audience, definitely that would be helpful. For even we can get some clues, if you have faced or you have found some mechanism which can be helpful to the fellow colleagues. So that would definitely benefit the cause.
Sir, one more question, and is IBBI making it mandatory to do e-auction only through approved platforms which are approved by them? Is there anything like that?
As of now, it's not. As of now, they have not designated particular platforms. Maybe it may come in the near future. So they are regulating many things, because what has been seen is there are here and there's everywhere, not only in our industry. So certain people are there who may have done some misdeed or certain irregularities, so which are definitely hampering our reputations also. And then they are trying to regulate each and everything, even the e-auction platforms, because certain e-auction players, they have fallen into ill practices wherein they are helping out the potential bidders in getting out of the platforms settlements and amongst themselves, so that to benefit one or the other person and to get extract something for them. So therefore maybe it may be in their mind that they can designate also, but then also there is no guarantees. So what will happen? So though the corrective steps or the preventive measures are taken by the regulatory authorities, our regulator is very active, and the moment they hear about something, they will come out with some regulation to regulate it. So definitely there are both the aspects to it. Sometimes it is the benefit is more than the loss which will be which will happen out of due to these kinds of over regulations. But sometimes it can also hamper. So both the aspects need to be studied very carefully, not only on a whisper. There should be, such kind of rigorous provisions, like there is a penalty provisions for IPs. So these kind of things can, which are very heavy, huge penalties of percentages of fees only on a small, kind of error. So, or a non-compliance. So these things slowly, when they realize and when they experience that, yes, these things have definitely messed up the smoothly running process. So then there may be corrective measures also that will be required to be taken. But I am of the opinion that definitely before bringing out anything like this, there should be very deep analysis of all the aspects, the benefits which can be accrued from the such kind of such kind of provisions, and also the the loss which can incur due to over regulating. So we all will see, and we cannot do anything. We can just express our opinions.
Another aspect is this whoever wants to buy these assets in e-auctions and all, they are a little bit fearful of the litigations post the acquisition. How to convince them, or how to handle these people?
That's what I'm saying now, that litigations is the biggest discounting factor. This is the biggest discounting factor for the values being proposed. So they do discount it deeply. That's why it's being said that there is a huge haircut in the IBC processes. So then the government has to properly analyze what are the reasons and bring out corrective steps. Like I have told you, some of the steps can be educating the authorities and making automatic implementation of 32A. Taxation authorities need to be guided. Bijli board, these electricity boards, and these kinds of, the land owning authorities. So they create a havoc for the RAs. And these investigating authorities like EDs and all these, MPID, these kind of authorities also, they continue with their processes, SFIO and all, and they don't even see that this person has come to the rescue and he's not the culprit, he's not the accused person. So, but the treatment is like that. Even the RPs and liquidators are treated like sometimes as a defaulter. So we know I have to many a times attend such kind of proceedings, even in the courts attached to enforcement directorate and all. There also sometimes, even in one of my matter, the name was mentioned as accused. When the company I am running as a liquidator, so the accused is the company, but the liquidator, he should not be taken up like that. Basically, the promoters, because the individuals can only be the accused people, the promoters or directors present at the time of commitment of that offense. So I have sometimes represented, and in this case, which I am telling you, I represented it before the court and I was exempted. So I said, I can be the best I have, since being a custodian of the records, the liquidator can be your witness. I can provide you access to the documents, nothing more than that. So if you tell me, okay, you have to respond to the, allegations or the charge sheet which has been filed by the enforcement directorate. So why should I respond? What is my locus standi? So I am there in the process as a court officer. So why should I? So that's why, I was exempted to file this kind of response. Let the promoters or the offending persons, they be responsible to, represent, not the officer of the court. So, so now these kinds of education is required to all the concerned stakeholders. Then only these things. But see, since we are seeing this is a nascent law, so things are improving and there are developments happening. We are witness to all that. So these things may be taken up by the concerned persons, and from in times to come, I think there may be some better, better environment for the investors, for the RAs, and they may not face such kind of issues which they are facing now.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Welcome. So, anyone else? Yes, Trishla ji, madam. Tell me. I think there is no more questions. I have been able to convince and provide all my experience, and everyone seems to be well convinced with what all was deliberated. And maybe I have explained that good that they don't have questions left, or maybe we need to get the videos and switched on, and everyone should participate, not only for the sake of CPRs, but also to get because once you this is a very nice forums where people can get education, then they will otherwise keep on calling. I get at least 40 to 50 calls a day. So if there is a difficulty or in some matter, but these are the places where they can get information.
Actually come up with some queries.
So, but I'm seeing that, it's just a namesake. So you also formulate some kind of, checks and balances for this.
Sure, sir. We will consider this and we'll come up with something to make it better.
Definitely.
But I think it's a need of an hour that we should actually get something done in this regard. Because I think, speakers prepares a lot for this session and I coordinate with them. So they raise these concerns and ma'am, people come only for CP and they are not willing to debate on the subject. So it's waste their time as well.
Yeah, so some people are doing their work, just their people are, just having the name displayed, and some are talking on phone or something. So definitely, person should utilize, because the speaker himself, it's not for his interest. He's already educated. So he's trying to give in the best. So I think this is all from me. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks a lot for giving this.
Thank you, sir, for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wish you all the best. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot, Ji. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing some people at least are awake and active.